of OV and Miller High Life. By Ford of Canada. At Ford, quality is job one. Driving is believing. And your local Petro-Canada dealers and agents, putting Canada first. And now for all the action, let's join our CDC sports crew.
But a very strong wind out of the northwest, and Trevor Kennard, the Winnipeg Blue Bomber kicking specialist, is having some difficulties positioning that ball on the tee. Darnell Clash and Vereen are back to receive this opening kickoff. Clash takes it at the 4-yard line. And Clash gets out to about the 25 to the 27-yard line. First to make contact with him was Vernon Paul. That was a 61-yard kickoff by Trevor Kennard. The offensive line for the British Columbia Lions, and they, of course, have that outstanding fleet of receivers led by Mervyn Fernandez. And the quarterback this afternoon, as he has been in the two previous winning starts for the BC Lions, Roy DeWalt. DeWalt looking for his third consecutive game in passing for more than 400 yards. He gets the time. It's knocked away. Intended for Fernandez. It was deflected by Donovan Rose.
Well, there was two things. There was two things on this play right here. Number one, they're giving DeWalt way too much room. But number two, he got it out there in a dangerous area, and it was almost picked off, and that would have been a great start for the Bombers if they could have picked that one off.
2nd and 10. The Lions are at their own 27-yard line. Passing complete on the far side of the field. It was intended for Ned Armour. He was being covered by David Shaw. And Tyrone Jones with help from Tony Norman pressuring quarterback Roy DeWalt. Ron Lancaster, that's what Coach Cal Murphy said they would have to do to reduce DeWalt's effectiveness, put some pressure on him from the linebackers and the front three.
Well, he feels they have a good secondary, and David Shaw's as good a one-on-one cover as you got. But the pressure up front's the key, and they got at that time forced him to throw off balance, which is bad for a quarterback.
Well, Shaw says that he's going to be able to cover Fernandez this afternoon, so he's really up high for this game, and it was indicated the way he played on that first play.
Haley takes the ball at the 27-yard line, and a pretty good return as he gets to the 40-yard line. A booming punt by Lou Persaglia, 56 yards. And now Tom Clements will attempt to direct that Winnipeg offense. They've gone with an all-Canadian offensive line. Val Belcher has gone to the bench to make room for Frank Robinson. Boyd and Murphy, the outside man, House and Poplawski, the slot backs, and of course Tom Clements, the starting quarterback with Hucklack and Reed. The 40-yard line with Willard Reed diving through. And here's the Bombers' famed shoestring play, but is it going to work? The BC Lions were ready for it. They did not get away with it. This is the play the Winnipeg Blue Bombers have executed 3 times in the past with success, but Don Matthews, Ron, obviously was prepared for it.
Well, they tried to get everybody out to that wide side of the field, and then a direct snap tried to get outside, but they weren't being fooled. BC looked like they'd been ready for it.
I saw the BC linebackers and their cornerback on that side alert the defense right away when they didn't get back in that huddle, and they just slid over and got in the way.
Bob Cameron kicking into the wind, a pretty good boot. Vereen is knocked down at the 28-yard line. A 42-yard kick, and Henry Vereen on the return, stopped by Pat Kapner at the 28, and that's where BC will scrimmage when we return.
Petro-Canada is energy. To the people of Ontario, that means economic energy. fueling new investments, stimulating new technology, creating new jobs in manufacturing, engineering, transportation, steel. That's Petro-Canada's commitment. You can see it in Ontario. And wherever you see this sign, Petro-Canada, putting Canada first.
Well, this is certainly in contrast to the last time the BC Lions appeared at Winnipeg Stadium on the 21st of June. An evening game, the final preseason game for both teams. It became very dark, very cloudy at kickoff time. Then the skies lit up with lightning bolts hitting all around, and the game was suspended at that point with a tremendous rainstorm that delayed play for over an hour. Up front, the Bombers have Norman, McIver, and Sturdivant. Actually, Vernon Paul was listed on the depth charts as starting at linebacker. He'll be in and out of there with Frank Robinson this afternoon. And the defensive backs, Shaw and Rose outside. They'll be hard-pressed today. Turner and Haley inside, and Slagle is the safety. First and 10, the BC Lions at their own 28-yard line. The wall, there's also a penalty flag on the play. Tyrone Jones was also coming from his linebacking position. The penalty is against the BC Lions.
If you watch closely, here's where you get the pressure. Great pressure outside, coming from the outside. That forces the quarterback to step up, but they got inside, and there's nowhere for him to go. He has nowhere to run on this. Watch the pressure. That's great pressure by a unit. He couldn't step up, and he's going to get trailed, nailed, whichever way he goes. That's what you want out of a defensive line.
Well, Cal Murphy said before the game that his Bombers were ready to play, that they were really up for this game, and they really look like it so far.
Back at the 15, it's 2nd and 23. The holding call against BC. Decline pressure again on DeWalt. He was trying to dump it off to Ron Henry White. Ron, this BC team has felt the pressure of that Winnipeg defense on their first and second series of downs.
Well, both series, it's tough for a quarterback to throw a ball when he's being pressured and on his back, and watching where he goes here. Look, there's 3 blue jerseys coming. He just throws it away and, gets away with not getting a loss. But, boy, the Bombers have come to play, as you said, Leo. Cal said they were ready to play.
Well, there's only one thing to do for the BC Lions in a case like this, and that's to either throw the swing pass in a hurry or run a screen or a draw to get them that rush off of you, because that rush is just overpowering so far.
With the win, Pasaglia hit his first 56 yards. This is another big punt. Oh, and what a bounce he gets out of it. Haley has to go all the way back to his 6-yard line. Haley has nowhere to go, and he is down at the 14-yard line by Dave McNeil. An 88-yard kick by Lou Pasaglia. Well, that certainly got the BC Lions under some difficulty with that favoring breeze. Pasaglia really stepped into one. Many people, anyway, consider Pasaglia to be the #1 punter in the Canadian Football League.
Well, there's some people who will argue with you, but he's right up there near the top. And when you hit it like that, I thought it was going out of the stadium. It was pretty to watch.
I'll tell you, that coverage team woke up the way the Bombers come after them down there. They went down that field with vengeance in their mind, and they got real good field position now, the BC Lions.
An important change for the Lions defensively at middle linebacking. Dave McNeil is in there in place of the injured Tyrone Cruz. Clements has his pass knocked away. It was intended for Joe Poplawski, and Larry Crawford was the man who knocked it down. Max Moore was pressuring quarterback Tom Clements. He has not really had an auspicious debut. Clements has struggled through the first 2 games.
Well, Leo mentioned that right at the start when he was talking about they've got to get things going. And Clements is the guy that the Bombers are counting on. Huffnagel's always there in reserve, but you never want to use him unless you have to. You like him to rest. You want that #1 guy to go.
Clements is most dangerous after he's had a couple bad games, and he hasn't had a couple good games, so this ought to be about time for him to do something.
Willard Graves finds the hole.
A great call.
Larry Crawford pulled the feet out from Willard Graves, but not before he had scampered for 17 yards and a very important Winnipeg first down.
What has happened here is that the Bombers did just exactly what the BC Lions should have done. They saw that BC Lion team was coming real hard. They came with this delayed draw in there, and it opened up like a suitcase. Got him a first down, got him out of trouble.
First down from the 32 this time. No room for Willard Reeves. He was met head-on by James Parker and Dave McNeil. Parker had a great game against the Toronto Argonauts last Sunday afternoon. For those of you who watched the action on CBC television, he was also chosen our Carling O'Keefe Defensive Game Star. Second and 10. The Blue Bombers at their own 32. Clements is in trouble. Manages to throw the pass. Is it a catch or an interception? No, nothing. It was intended for Nellis, and Crawford came across to knock it away. He was claiming that he had made the interception. But Clements was under pressure, and only through his scrambling ability was he able to get away from Nick Hebler.
Well, Tom doesn't have the strongest arm of the quarterbacks in this league, and when he cannot step and throw, he's thrown into the wind, he threw off his back foot. It's not going to get there that quick. But as you say, a lot of pressure.
Don, we got to, at this time, say hello to Kevin Lampa. He's a defensive end from Kamloops who attended Weber State. He just had a very serious cancer operation, but the coaches say that he has no doubt that he'll be back in the ball game soon, and we're sending him all our best.
We echo those sentiments, and Kevin, if you're looking in this afternoon, we all wish you a very speedy recovery. There will be a penalty on that punt return. We'll sort it out for you right after this.
Welcome to Miller Time. It's brewed here. It's yours and mine. Bring your thirsty self right here. You've got the time we've got to give for what you have in mind. Welcome to Miller Time.
Miller High Life. Regular price and one of the best beers you can buy. Welcome to Miller Time.
Well, the Winnipeg Football Club today officially opened their expanded fieldhouse facilities, and participating in today's cornerstone laying were the Honorable Pearl McGonigal, Lieutenant Governor, Larry Desjardins, the Honorable Lloyd Axworthy, and the new CFL Commissioner, Doug Mitchell. A beautiful new facility located at the south end of Winnipeg Stadium, and the Bombers hope that this blue and gold room will generate about $100,000 in additional revenue during the course of the year.
Don, we had a nice tour through there last time we were here. It's quite a place.
Oh, yeah, it's beautiful. It's a great addition for their football team because they can have their social functions there, and their alumni club can view the football game from there if they want to.
They're also going to have the alumni or the Blue Bomber Hall of Fame located in the blue and gold room. Roy DeWalt has not yet completed a pass in this football game, but what a season he has got going for him after starts against Edmonton and Toronto. He throws the pass to Sandusky, and he is brought down after crossing the 25-yard line, stopped by Tyrone Jones. We saw Sandusky last week in Toronto. Very impressive receiver. Great hands.
Great hands and great speed. He's awful quick when he gets hold of the football. This is the key to the BC Lions. Guys like Sandusky in armor, they can catch a 5-yard pass, gain 15 with it, and that's big.
Frank Robinson has gone in at the linebacking spot in place of Vernon Paul. Pressure again, and the wall is going down. McIver, Sturdivant, Tony Norman, they were all there.
Well, we talked about a quarterback. Watch that pressure. He has nowhere to go. They're coming up the middle and from the outside. And Tyrone Jones has something. He doesn't like quarterbacks, I don't think.
Well, Tyrone Jones has certainly had an outstanding year so far as a linebacker for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. They have 4 imports at those linebacking positions: Aaron Brown, Delbert Fowler, Frank Robinson, and Tyrone Jones. Scott Slagle almost got to that punt. There's a penalty flag on the play. Contacting the kicker will be assessed against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
And Slagle's arguing that he touched the football. That's what he's arguing. And if he touched the football, then he's allowed to hit the kicker, and that's what he was arguing. Boy, I'll tell you, they've come close every time. Let's see if we get a look at it. Well, there's no doubt he hit him with his foot in the air, so he had to hope he hit the ball. Now, let's see if we can see it.
No, he missed the football.
Well, you won't come much closer and not block a punt, but Lou Pasaglia did have that foot in the air, as Ron said, when he was hit by Scott Flagel. So the BC Lions will retain possession.
Contacting the kicker, Winnipeg, number 64. Third down open.
They said it was number 64, but it was 14, Scott Flagel, who came through there. So the Lions will kick it again, this time from the 28-yard line.
Well, they're up there again, Don. They're up there.
This time, Pasaglia's kick bounces out of bounds in front of Ken Haley at the 31-yard line. It will be 1st and 10 at that point after a 51-yard kick by Pasaglia. A sunny afternoon, a temperature of 23 degrees, the wind out of the northwest at 30. And, of course, it is currently favoring the British Columbia Lions. Seven minutes and 30 seconds remaining in this scoreless opening quarter. Jeff Boyd unable to escape the coverage of Melvin Bird.
So far, it's been a question of two defenses that are really fired up, that are pursuing and getting to that football in the least amount of time. Both teams are playing extremely well defensively, and offensively, both teams look a little bit upset at this point of the ball game.
Melvin Bird signed as a free agent in 1982, doing a good defensive job on the very speedy Jeff Boyd at 2nd and 8, Winnipeg. Clements almost had it picked off by Larry Crawford. Crawford, who led the Lions in interceptions last year with a dozen, coming across the middle. Billy McBride was also in position, but it was Crawford who knocked the pass away. Now, neither side has been able to generate any offense so far, except for that 17-yard run by Willard Reeves. The defense has controlled the game both ways.
Well, the idea of a good defense is to put that quarterback in a state of shock by coming after him. And both defensive lines have succeeded. It looks like the Walt Clements are both a little bit shook up at this time.
Scott Flagel downfield very quickly to stop Darnell Clash. A pretty good kick by Bob Cameron into that wind of 44 yards.
It's an excellent kick into the wind, and also as strong as that wind is, the Bombers are doing a heck of a job defensively because they're getting good field position with Cameron's punts, and Pasaglia's only been able to get it deep once, so they've done a good job.
1st and 10 for the Lions. They are at their own 34-yard line. The Bombers with a 1-1 record. The Lions looking for their 3rd straight. They were also unbeaten during preseason play. Again, Roy DeWalt's in trouble. Frank Robinson from his linebacking spot got through.
One of the reasons they wanted Frank Robinson in there was for his speed, and boy, look at him come on that blitz. DeWalt didn't have a chance around to do anything.
Talking to Cal Murphy not only this week but last week, he's very impressed with Frank Robinson as a football player, and everybody knows he can play. He's led the Saskatchewan Rough Riders 3 years in a row in tackles. He was all over DeWalt.
A loss of 6 at 2nd and 16. DeWalt's in trouble again. He's lost the football. Picked up by David Shaw. Touchdown. Delbert Fowler made the contact. There's a penalty flag on the play. They ruled that he was already down. They ruled that the contact had already put DeWalt to the turf.
All right, watch the effort. The wall goes to play. But watch the effort coming around the outside that hits the wall just as he goes to throw the football. Look at him come.
It looks like he may have come through with that ball, though.
Well, it's a judgment call. It was a close one. Big break for the Lions. Man on the spot, Tyrone Jones once again.
And now a penalty flag as the BC Lions are charged with taking too long and putting the ball in play.
Time count violation, BC number 5.
Referee Ross Perrier in charge of today's game as Don Matthews looks on. Must be wondering what's happened to his high-powered offense.
He ran into a high-powered defense right now.
Third down punt. Saglia got it up high. Haley takes it at the 40, finds a bit of a hole and gets out to the 50-yard line. Another good kick, 49 yards by Lou Pasaglia. Andre Jones was there to make the tackle after a return of 12. Bombers will scrimmage from their own 51 when we return.
As you remember, class, last week's Lotto 649 lesson on preparing for the big win dealt with putting maitre d's in their place. Today's lesson is on buying art. Repeat after me, Leonardo da Vinci.
Leonard da Vinci.
Renoir. Renoir. Modigliani.
Modigliani?
No. Modigliani.
Lotto 649. Exceptionally attractive prizes. $1 the ticket.
Will you be ready?
California, here we come with Canada's largest and strongest team ever, including Sean O'Sullivan and Willie DeWitt, looking for this country's first Olympic boxing medals in more than 50 years. CBC will be there with 193 hours of coverage starting next weekend.
Yes, indeed. The opening ceremonies coming from Los Angeles next weekend, and the 1984 Summer Olympics should indeed be exciting, and you'll want to be watching all of the action on CBC television. I'm looking forward in particular to covering the track and field activities in Los Angeles. There should be some great racing, some great field events as well.
One of the names that was just mentioned, Sean O'Sullivan. He's the pride of Cabbagetown back in Toronto, and we'll all be pulling for him.
Yeah. You're a boxing fan, aren't you, Leo?
Yeah, I am, Ron. I really enjoy boxing. I was quite a boxer, you know.
Well, you told me about that. I can't remember that.
Clements passing complete to James Murphy. First down to the 48-yard line. Brought down there by Mal Bird.
That's an excellent pass pattern. It's just a read for the quarterback. All he does is just take a look. He'll clear it. He comes in a flat, and the wide receiver goes down and comes right back at Clements, and he just hits him on the run.
Gain of 13 on that pass play. Clements to Murphy. Clements in trouble. He's dropped by Nick Hebler back at the 50-yard line.
You see, the thing that I don't understand about both these offenses is when you got the defense cranked up like that and they're coming at you and putting that kind of pressure on you, you've got to take a 2 or 3 step drop and throw the football or get rid of it or run it. Hebler come in there free, carte blanche, and just put him down for a big loss. You've got to get rid of that football. You can't allow that.
What the Bombers gained on the previous play was a race on that sack by Nick Hebler. It's now 2nd and 23. The handoff to Willard Reeves. Reeves gets to the midfield stripe, but stopped well short of a first down. Now for more CFL action, here's Don Martin.
The Eskimos have taken a 7-0 lead. Surprise starter Johnny Evans gets it to Brian Kelly, who does the rest on his own. 50 yards for his 9th touchdown of the young season, and it's 7-0 Edmonton first quarter. Now back to Don Whitman in Winnipeg.
Well, we talked about the fantastic start of Roy DeWalt, Mervyn Fernandez, but how about Brian Kelly?
I was going to say, it's not, we should have figured if Kelly catches it, it's a touchdown. It's the only thing he does.
If he keeps going, he'll break every conceivable pass receiver and touchdown record on the books.
Henry Vereen is forced out of bounds. A 30-yard kick by Bob Cameron that time into the wind. And Vereen was forced out of bounds at the 30-yard line after a run back of 6. Rob Cameron not pleased with that punting effort, but he's kicking into a very stiff breeze. But here in Winnipeg, he certainly gets lots of opportunity to practice kicking into the wind as well.
I don't know why he'd be too disappointed he didn't lose yardage with it. I've seen him go back over the kicker's head.
They've had time now to think over this big rush, so they ought to be coming up with something here. That's a quick drop.
Incomplete. Intended for Ned Armour. He was being covered over there by David Shaw. Roy DeWalt, who missed almost all of the preseason after undergoing surgery on his ankle. But he has played very well through the first two games, establishing a passing record in the debut against the Edmonton Eskimos, and then last week against the Toronto Argonauts, breaking that record. 2:20 the time remaining here in the first quarter. It's still scoreless at Winnipeg Stadium. 2nd and 10. Pressure on the wall again. Chased by Frank Robinson. Caught way back at the 3-yard line. Cal Murphy said he wanted the speed of Frank Robinson in that lineup, and it has certainly paid dividends in this first quarter.
Well, what you see here, he puts the pressure, he eats up the block, but Frank Robinson takes the outside rush, and there's nowhere for DeWalt to go, and Robinson can run faster than DeWalt. He's clean coming out there and runs him down.
Now, that's something I'm sure a lot of viewers will find unusual when you say a linebacker runs faster than a quarterback.
Well, I'll tell you, the 4 Bomber linebackers have excellent speed. They are really fast, and that's the name of the game if you're going to stay with BC's receivers.
That's the one refinement that's been most pronounced in Canadian football in the last 10 years is the speed of the linebackers course.
Haley takes it on the run at the 45 to the 35-yard line. That was a 26-yard loss. Frank Robinson catching Roy DeWalt back at the 4-yard line.
Well, you know, those quarterbacks always think they can get away from one guy, but not that time.
Well, in his first game in a Winnipeg Blue Bomber uniform, Frank Robinson already is a candidate for our Carling O'Keefe Defensive Game Star Award. To Jeff Boyd trying to throw that flanker screen. He broke the first tackle and then is stopped by Billy McBride. It appears as the two teams have spent a lot of time studying films of each other. They are ready defensively.
Don, when you look at Del Fowler, Tyrone Jones, and Frank Robinson, they're all halfback speed.
Going without a huddle, Clements throwing the pass complete, but they got a first down. Very close to it. Rick House taking a look at the sideline to see just where he made contact, and it is going to be very close to a first down. As a matter of fact, referee Ross Ferrier indicates that a measurement will be required.
They're going to go after it. It doesn't really matter. Going against that wind, you're not going to kick a field goal now. Go get it.
Just 53 seconds remaining in the first quarter.
There's only one play right here with about 12 inches for a first down. That's a quarterback sneak. But I've seen Clements, Ronnie, and so have you, fake a running play here and throw for the touchdown.
Well, this is the time. 3rd down. If you're going to play action pass, gamble it all. Throw it on 3rd down.
He's done it before.
Not this time. They're a little deep. Better keep it.
Clements keeps. He'll have the first down.
What the key is on those gambles all the time is if the quarterback sees the secondary up, but their defensive back, they had 3 of them back there. They were taking no chances.
Dan McCallus had gone into the ball game along with Pat Kantner for that 3rd down gamble, and they moved the ball inside the BC 24-yard line. It will be 1st and 10 Winnipeg. This could be the final play of the opening quarter. Clements in trouble. James Parker decked him back at the 38-yard line, and that is the final play of the quarter. A tough defensive struggle, some exciting defensive effort on the part of both teams through a scoreless opening quarter here at Winnipeg Stadium.
Welcome to Miller time. It's brewed here. It's yours and mine.
Miller High Life, brewed here, and one of the best beers you can buy. Welcome to Miller Time.
Let's take a look at the CFL Game Stars for the week as Edmonton quarterback Matthew Dunnigan picks up the Offensive Player of the Week honors. Ottawa's Ricky Barton is this week's Defensive Star, while Edmonton's Hector Potier is the Rothman's Lineman of the Week. Now let's go back to Don Whitman in Winnipeg.
Yes, the Game Stars of the past week in the Canadian Football League, and this afternoon there are going to be some defensive Game Stars. It's going to be tough to sort them out. Look at those statistics. BC minus 50 yards through that first quarter. Winnipeg only picking up 40 yards. But tremendous pressure by both sides. Winnipeg, in particular, getting to quarterback Roy DeWalt. The total passing yardage, 3 yards.
The BC offensive Game Stars, the guy that caught the one for 3 yards.
I'm really surprised with the way that those defensive ends are coming on an outside rush, coming all out kamikaze, that Reeves isn't getting the ball more, because he can break up inside there.
Clemens throwing deep. Incomplete, looking for James Murphy in the end zone.
Not a bad thing to do. First play of the second quarter, you have the win. Just send your speedster down the sideline, try to pick on him one-on-one. The ball was a little bit underthrown, so he couldn't get it. What? The ball will be just a little underthrown. That'll allow Bird. See, the receivers have to stop. That allows Bird to get his hand on it, but he just about caught it anyway.
How about a little face guarding on that, too? Boy, that was pretty close.
Well, no, he's got his head up looking in one hand trying to get it. He just missed it.
So Trevor Kennard will attempt the field goal from 44 yards out. Kick is wide, but it sails through the end zone for a single point. So after 33 seconds of the second quarter, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers finally hit the scoreboard on a missed Trevor Kennard field goal.
Come on, Canada. Join the Ford Best Built Quality Celebration. It's Tempo and Topaz's first anniversary, and we're featuring low prices on the most successful new car names of '84. Get up to $912 off right now on front-wheel drive Tempo and Topaz, two of the most technologically advanced cars on the road today, from the maker of the best-built North American cars and trucks. Come in during our quality celebration now for best built quality and value.
Second to none at Ford. Quality is your fun.
Halfway through the party, everyone ran out of things to say. Then, at the stroke of midnight, someone appeared with the Sperry PC. It looked like most other personal computers, but it had a more comfortable keyboard, dramatic color graphics, IBM software compatibility, and it ran 50% faster than the IBM PC. Now everyone had something to talk about again. The Sperry PC, what the personal computer should have been in the first place.
Well, we talked earlier about the outstanding start that Brian Kelly of the Edmonton Eskimos is off to. 9 touchdown receptions so far this year. Single season record for touchdown catches shared by Hugh Campbell and Terry Evanson. Campbell had 17 in 1966, Evanson 17 in 1967. Terry Evanson this year, by the way, will be inducted into the Canadian Football League Hall of Fame. John Henry wide, stopped right at the line of scrimmage and then driven back. Aaron Brown calling the defensive signals for the Blue Bombers. There is little doubt that during the week, this team was prepared for this football game. According to Coach Cal Murphy, they had a great week of practice.
Well, they've had a taste of blood, and they're coming with a kamikaze rush. And you know what kind of individual receivers that Vancouver has. If they get a guy wide open on man coverage, it could be all over.
The sideline pattern intended for John Pancratz, knocked away by Ken Haley, and Aaron Brown was moving from his middle linebacking position again.
Well, they seem to be getting pressure on DeWalt by somebody every time he's thrown the football. Haley was right on top of his man where he belongs and knocks it down.
That wind now more of a crosswind than blowing either north or south, the direction that Winnipeg Stadium runs. Low drive by Lou Pasaglia. It bounces to Sean Keogh. He's trying to get outside. And is brought down by Nelson Martin at the 39-yard line. A 39-yard kick that time by Lou Pasaglia. A lot of running by Sean Keogh to pick up just 7 yards. Lou Pasaglia already in the game has punted the ball 6 times. I think he only kicked about twice over in Toronto. Movement at the line of scrimmage. There's a penalty flag that should be a free one for Tom Clements if he can get outside. Mac Muller in pursuit. Clements throws deep. Incomplete. Intended for Joe Poplawski. Offside the call against the British Columbia Lions. There was also a penalty flag further downfield.
Offside, BC, number 40. First down repeated.
There you see, James Parker just got into that neutral zone with that right foot. That means he can't get back because the ball was snapped. Clements did a wise thing. He had a chance to get a free, big gain. He took it.
To the sidelines. Oh, he completed it just in time to Jeff Boyd with Mel Bird steaming up there. One more step and Bird was gone for 6 the other way.
On that pattern, the ball was not released when it should have been. Mel Bird got right back. Clements takes a little bit long to release a quick out pattern. And Mel Bird almost gets there. He picks it off. He's down the sideline. Watch, you see the receiver will be standing there waiting. See, he's waiting on the ball. You've got to get it there.
First and 10, Willard Reeves inside. He'll pick up about 4, maybe 5 yards. Tripped up by Dave McNeil, the middle linebacker. Reeves had an outstanding rookie season last year for the Blue Bombers until suffering an injury late in the year that sidelined him for the balance of the season. He came to camp this year very optimistic. He was talking about an 1,800-yard season.
Well, I'd rather have him thinking that than thinking 800.
He carried the ball 6 times this afternoon for 32 yards. It will be 2nd and 5. Poplawski first down. Stopped by Nelson Martin at the 42-yard line. We talked about some of the team records that Roy DeWalt erased from the BC Lion book. Joe Poplawski did the same against the Toronto Argonauts 2 weeks ago, erasing a mark for receptions that had been held by the late Ernie Pitts.
I'm still looking for Reeves to do more running on the inside here.
A screen to James Murphy. He gets down to the 12-yard line. Stopped by Kevin Konar. For a moment, it looked as though he was going to be stopped for a very little game after running into one of his own men.
Well, this is the play that Cal Murphy was talking to us about, that he likes to get out there in a hurry and have the halfback picked off by the inside blocker and then see if that guy can't break it loose. And he almost did on that one.
A gain of 29. First down from the 12. Intended for Willard Reeves, incomplete.
Tom did a wise thing. He just threw that ball away because he was under a lot of pressure. Parker puts him on the ground, and Tom just threw it out of bounds. Parker put him on the ground, as you see.
Well, they're in 3-down territory down there. And Tommy's sprinting out again. See that pressure coming on him. He lets the ball go early, prematurely, and it just gets away from him. But I still say 3-down territory. You got 3 downs to make a first down inside the 20-yard line. You got to back like Reeves. You got to give him the football.
10:04 the time remaining in this first half. Winnipeg leading by a score of 1-0. Willard Reeves gets the football to the 5-yard line.
Does that make you happy now, Leo? Are you happy?
You've got to give that guy, especially when you can use your 3rd down. You got to give the ball on 1st down.
Well, for a moment, fans, I think, thought Cal Murphy was going to gamble on 3rd and 3, but Murphy wisely is going to send in the field goal unit and take the points while he can.
You got to get something every time you get down there. You got to make this field goal. Should be a chip shot.
Trevor Kennard puts it through. So with 9:23 remaining in the first half, and there was a penalty flag on the play, it's 4-0. Winnipeg leading British Columbia.
Every time you fill up at your neighborhood Petro-Canada station, you're pumping your money back into Canadian jobs, back into new opportunities for Canadian industry and technology, back into the ongoing search for Canadian energy. And to every Canadian who thinks that all gasoline stations are the same, Petro-Canada offers an alternative. Pump your money back into Canada. It goes a long way. Petro-Canada, putting Canada first.
When you're doing it right, it feels so right. That makes all the difference. Your care and your pride go side by side. That makes all the difference. Doing it right. So when it comes to your beer and good friends are here, make it a Carlsberg. Carlsberg doing it right.
Expos Baseball returns to CBC this week as the struggling Pittsburgh Pirates visit Olympic Stadium Thursday night at 7 o'clock Eastern Time on the full CBC television network.
Well, on that successful field goal by Trevor Kennard, we said there was a penalty flag, and indeed there was. A legal procedure against the Blue Bombers. That means they'll move it 5 yards back. And this will be a 17-yard field goal attempt by Trevor Kennard. 1-0, the Blue Bombers in front. And again, Trevor Kennard puts it through, so it is a 4-0 ball game. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers leading the British Columbia Lions. 9:06, the time remaining in the first half. I can't recall where I've enjoyed watching a defensive game as much as this one. Usually you think of defensive games as not being nearly as exciting as a wide-open offensive display, but this one has produced a lot of excitement with those linebackers chasing the quarterback.
I think a lot of football fans like defense, and if you like defense, you got two of the best right here.
From the 35, 1st and 10. DeWalt throwing for Fernandez. He's got it. Only so long can you stop DeWalt and Fernandez. Ken Haley came over to make the tackle, but it is a first down, BC.
Well, Fernandez just went down, turned to the inside, and he got right between the corner and the halfback into that dead spot. Watch, he'll turn right outside, he drops it in there. Yeah, you're not going to stop him forever.
Back to the live action. This is Fernandez again.
Well, one thing for sure, Don, when a quarterback gets in trouble, you always go to the guy that you have the most confidence in. 2 plays in a row, he's gone to Fernandez.
Normally you'll see a team like the Winnipeg Blue Bombers come with a big blitz early in the ballgame and then kind of level off a little bit. And it looks like right now they're not coming with nearly as much blitz as they did, although here they come again.
Penalty flags on the play. Deep for Armour, incomplete. He was being covered by Wiley Turner. Holding against BC.
I believe there's 2 flags down, Don. Let's see what the other one's for.
Looks like it could be a saw.
Holding, BC number 20, declined. 3rd down.
John Henry White, guilty of the holding call. This is where the backs are under a lot of pressure to pick up those blitzing linebackers.
Well, that's what makes it so tough is people like Aaron Brown, they got good size, too. So when they come in there, that back better be set because he's going to get a jolt.
Lou Pasaglia stands at the 45-yard line with 7:39 left to play here in the first half. Winnipeg in front by a score of 4-0. Good kick into the wind. Sean Keogh takes it at the 5-yard line. Still on his feet, but losing yardage in the process as he's taken out of bounds by Bernie Glier. Good kick of 46 yards into the wind by Lou Pasaglia.
Bombers are lining right up. Let's see what they got up their sleeve this time. No huddle.
And off to Willard Reeves. Leo, you're smiling. You said they had to use Willard Reeves, and they did that time. They went without the benefit of a huddle. Cal Murphy resorting to every tactic in his bag of tricks, a gain of 31.
Now, anytime that they come with that kind of force on blitzes for both teams, that means that there's got to be some seams to run up inside there and turn those big blitzers one way or the other, and that's what happened on that.
31 yards as Melvin Bird is down on one knee, the injured BC player, and now Willard Reeves has carried 8 times for 70 yards.
I've been a little surprised on most teams call their defenses from the sidelines. I've been surprised why more teams don't go from the line of scrimmage and not allow them to do that, especially if they're blitzing you a lot. Once they get in that pattern, they'll stay in it.
Andre Jones is in place of the injured Mel Bird. Sideline pattern incomplete, intended for James Murphy. Those are the type that you must catch as a receiver.
Well, especially when your game, as Tom Clements, everybody knows, is the short passing game, ball control style. The ball's there. Watch it just slides right through the hands. See, that gets them into 2nd and 2 instead of 2nd and 10. Now they're going to come after him.
And it wasn't a case of taking his eye off the ball either. He looked it right in his hands, but he just dropped the football.
2nd and 10 from the 44. Penalty flag. Dumped off to Willard Reeves, and he is tripped up. Rick Clausen got a hand out to pull the feet out from under Willard Reeves, but there is a penalty on the play. Offside against the Blue Bombers. Naturally, I think it will be declined by the Lions.
Offside, Winnipeg, number 21, declined.
Well, 2 plays in a row, back-to-back, that won't ingratiate James Murphy in the view of head coach Cal Murphy, dropping a pass and then going offside.
Well, you saw him take that stutter step and looked at that linesman on the side. He knew he was caught.
This is still a game of field position, though, and that was a big run by Willard Reeves to get him out of trouble down there, and they'll allow their punter now to kick them into pretty good field position as far as the Bombers are concerned. They could have been in real trouble down the other end of the field.
6:30 is the time remaining in the half. First punt by Bob Cameron with the win. What a kick. All the way back to the 5-yard line goes Darnell Clash, but now he's got some room. He slipped as he was attempting to turn. A 57-yard boot by Bob Cameron. A good run back by Darnell Clash. We have 6:10 remaining in the first half. A run back from 23.
To be the best takes time and care, a determination to do things right. We take the same time and care brewing Carlsberg, to brew it right. Carlsberg is for people the world over who like things done right.
So when it comes to your beer, and good friends are here, make it a Carlsberg. Carlsberg doing it right.
We've got too many sardines, not enough salmon.
We all could see it coming.
Come on. Where to? The future.
And now that time's at hand.
Computers? We don't know computers. They do.
Make friends with the future at Computerland. Make friends with the future at Computerland.
We help more kinds of people buy more kinds of computers than any other store in the world.
The future looks pretty good.
Next week in the CFL, the Stampeders host the defending Grey Cup champion Toronto Argonauts in Calgary. And on Saturday at BC Place in Vancouver, the Montreal Concourse meet the Lions at 10 o'clock Eastern Time here on CBC Television.
Head coach Don Matthews, I think, more than a little concerned at this juncture of the ball game with the fact that his offense has been unable to get on track. The draw play, John Henry White picked up about 4 yards before being hauled down by Frank Robinson. Now for a CFL update, here's Don Martin.
Here in Toronto, Joe Barnes has taken over from Conrad Holloway, and the Argos are on the board. 60 yards, the touchdown pass to Terry Greer. He was wide open for the score, but the Eskimos still lead it 8-7 second quarter. Now back to Winnipeg.
Well, coming back after that injury, it was only a matter of time before Terry Greer began to use that great speed of his. Mervyn Fernandez is in the clear. Penalty flag on the play. They're going to call Wiley Turner, I'm sure, for screening on Mervyn Fernandez.
I don't really think there's too much doubt about the call. DeWalt's going to look in the flat first, and then he sees Fernandez because they came up on the flat man, and he just ran straight into him without playing the football. You've got to play the football. There you get a good look at it.
So with the penalty, the BC Lions are at the Winnipeg 52-yard line. DeWalt to Fernandez again. Donovan Rose came up quickly to make the tackle, restricting the gain to about 4 yards.
You better be a little quicker with that one, too, because Rose was right there when the ball arrived.
Well, we saw Terry Greer catch a touchdown pass over in Toronto. They can only keep that Fernandez from breaking loose here. Watch him in just a moment. He's going to get behind somebody like he did that time, and it's just going to be a matter of DeWalt getting him the ball because they're coming with a lot of blitzing.
Second down, and DeWalt simply threw that one away, almost put it in the stands.
Well, the guy was open.
One of the reasons is he had Tyrone Jones all over him. I thought the fellow sitting in the first row could have made a better attempt at catching that one, though, don't you, Ron?
Yeah, not much of an attempt. He was wide open.
The guy in the checkered shirt was wide open.
He sure was. They tried to get Fernandez, as you just said, Leo. They're going to try to get him deep, and that's what they wanted to do there, but Tyrone Jones got in there, so DeWalt says, I'll throw it away. Good move because 3rd and 5.
On 3rd down, on a punting situation, they gambled. Did they make it? Frank Robinson came up. It will be close, depending on the placement of the ball.
From here, it looks like he may have made it.
All comes down to that spot. It's going to be very close. Coming from the other side of the field.
Well, Don Matthews said it's about time for us to do something, and we didn't get where we're at by taking it easy, so let's go for it. Matthews has 3 sons that he's pretty proud of. Mark, Mike, and Pat. Mark is with him this summer. Mike's won a scholarship down at Oregon State. Pat's a 14-year-old that's 5'10 and a half, and he likes basketball, too.
It is a first down for the BC Lions. The 3rd down gamble that pays off. The direct snap to John Henry White.
What they try to do there, Don, they bring Pasaglia, who used to be a quarterback. He just comes up under center and flips it back. And they have a mismatch in. They don't put a punt covering team in there. They leave their linemen in there. And most teams put smaller guys in on the return team, and he wants that mismatch. That's what he got.
Ball is at the 42 of Winnipeg. 1st and 10 for the BC Lions. The ball throwing deep for Fernandez. Incomplete. Fernandez had maneuvered in behind Donovan Rose, and he was just overthrown the touch by Roy DeWalt.
Now, that's what we're talking about right there, Ron, and he was open, and you can only hold this guy back so often, especially if you get him in one-on-one coverage out there like they had him that time.
Well, he's so big. He's 6'3". He's got great speed, and he's also tough to bring down once he gets hold of it.
He's nicknamed, of course, Swervin' Mervyn. Roy DeWalt had a good comment the other day. He may be called Swervin' Mervyn, but he doesn't do any swerving until he gets the football.
Here comes the blitz.
Oh, it's picked off by Ken Haley. Penalty flag on the play as well. John Sturdivant was the man who got through to Roy DeWalt. Holding
68. He's flying.
All right, here. Here's the guy that holds. He'll drop back here. The holding will take place right in front of the referee's eyes. And there was an ill-thrown pass, but you'll see the holding right at the top. You'll see the jersey stretch right there. He had a hold of it.
Well, if you're going to waste the ball and throw it away, you better get it out of bounds and don't throw it off the flat because it's just lucky you didn't run for a touchdown with it.
You're right. Should have never thrown that football.
So the Blue Bombers take over first and 10 at their own 53-yard line.
You know, both of these teams have had a lot of chances this first half to break the other team's back. They just don't want to do it.
3:34 at the time remaining here in the first half. Don Clements conferring with head coach Cal Murphy. He has hit on 8 of 14 pass attempts. Just 77 yards, the result of throwing the football, however.
Cal's probably telling them we at least want a field goal out of this, so move it down there.
Quickly inside. Rick House has a first down at the 40. Mal Bird, who bruised his shoulder earlier in the game, came over to make the tackle on Rick House. 3:08 the time remaining in the first half. Winnipeg leading by a score of 4-0, and the Bombers have great field position when we return.
We want to change your mind about your favorite chainsaw, because Solo brings new technology in chainsaw design, allowing low overall weight, yet backing high-performance engines. Electronic ignition, safety throttle lock, handguard, and chain brake are all standard features. Solo, the new chainsaw generation for the professional and the handyman. All Solo chainsaws boast low weight, safety, anti-vibration, and high degrees of reliability and durability. Very new and very Solo.
From JVC, brand new dimensions in sight and sound. A full line of VCRs, all with JVC's amazing four-head recording system. High-definition TVs that are fully remote and ready for the video age. JVC, taking you beyond innovation to bring you the pictures of the future. Available at these selected locations.
Well, at halftime, we'll have an update on that other CFL encounter, Edmonton and Toronto. And Barb McLeod will be talking with the safety of the British Columbia Lions, Nelson Martin. First down from the 42. Clements with time, throwing it out in the flat. John Keogh got inside the 35-yard line and then was thrown back. I would think, though, that's a dangerous pass to be thrown.
You are absolutely correct. And again, they're in real good field position. And I thought when Cal Murphy called them over that he was going to say something like, listen, take that three-step drop and hit the uncovered guys. Either that or give the ball to Reeves on the inside and let him run with it, because they got to get 3 points out of this thing down here at least.
Well, they give it to Reeves this time. He breaks off tackle. Nelson Martin made the stop at Willard Reeves. Should be over 100 yards, or at least very close to it with that run. 17 yards the game.
Now they got to repeat this over again. Watch him bust in here now. They're going to be coming again the same way they were that time. They're in 3-down territory now, inside the 20-yard line. Don't do anything foolish. Just control the football.
First and 10 from the 17. There it is. Joe Poplawski at the 5-yard line. First down, Winnipeg.
You think he was expecting a blitz? He put both backs in the backfield. They blitzed him. Poplawski's open underneath.
And Ron, if you're going to throw the ball down there, that's the place to throw it in the middle. Don't throw it off the outside. Throw it in the middle and run it in the middle. Just keep it moving.
First and goal, Winnipeg from the 5-yard line. Rolling to his right. Clements being chased by Hebler. Throws into the end zone, incomplete. Looking for James Murphy.
Again, there was first down. It was a very ill-advised play again by Clements. He shouldn't have thrown that football. There was too many white shirts in that area. He was getting a lot of pressure from Hebler and those linemen on the outside.
you know, you would think with all these people coming over here that he couldn't get through clean, but Hebler does, and he chases Clemens right out. Watch him. Just shrugs off that block, and now he can run also.
Now you see Clemens, he's got his shoulders turned away from the field. He's got to throw the ball off balance, and that's the kind of a ball you get intercepted right there.
Second and goal from the 5. The fake to Willard Reed. Into the end zone, incomplete. Poplawski protesting to the official that he was interfered with by Larry Crawford, but there was no flag.
I'll tell you one thing, if you're going to have one-on-one coverage on Poplawski on the field, Ron, you want that Crawford to be on him.
I'll tell you what, I don't see any complaints. I think the BC guy's in a better possession to catch the ball. There's no interference there.
Great job by Crawford.
Sure was.
In that game between Toronto and Edmonton, a missed field goal by Dave Cutler has gone for a single point, and Edmonton now leads 9-7. Trevor Kennard with a field goal attempt. It is good. 1:45 remaining in the first half here at Winnipeg Stadium. The Blue Bombers in front of the British Columbia Lions 7-0. A 13-yard field goal by Trevor Kennard.
And there's been a pile of football played to only have 7 points scored.
So it will be a 1st and 10 situation now for the British Columbia Lions from the 35-yard line. Cal Murphy exuded a certain amount of confidence when we talked with him prior to the game, didn't he?
Boy, he sure did. I didn't think anybody'd be excited about playing the BC Lions, but he was really looking forward to it.
DeWalt setting up the screen. The ball is loose. Oh, what a hit. Winnipeg got it. What a hit.
All right, watch this. Right there. Aaron Brown will drop. They set the screen up right here, but watch him come on the line. He will really put a hit on him. Watch him come running. All right, here comes the screen. Now watch. Boom. Well, I'll tell you, that's reading and hitting pretty well, isn't it? John Henry White's a little slow going off the field.
You think Frank Robinson is enjoying things this afternoon? Right now, let's go to Toronto for another CFL update.
Joe Burns rolls out, pumps once, pumps twice, and hits Terry Greer in the end zone with a 4-yard touchdown pass. Greer's second touchdown of the day, and the Argos move in front for the first time, 14-9, less than 2 minutes before the half. Now let's get back to Don Whitman in Winnipeg.
Just before the half here, 1:34 to be exact. That was Willard Reeves bursting off tackle for another Winnipeg first down to the 18-yard line, a run of 16.
Just keep giving him the ball and throwing short. Don't get it out in the flat.
Willard Reeves again. Down to the 5-yard line. There's a penalty flag in the end zone as well.
Roughing against BC.
That time Reeves carried for 12 yards. And he now is 115 for the game.
Major foul, unnecessary ripping, BC number 4. First down.
Nelson Martin guilty of the roughing in the end zone. And Winnipeg with 1:24 remaining in the half at the 3-yard line. It's now 1st and goal.
I wonder if Tommy will remember how he got down here.
Willard Reeves met right at the line of scrimmage by Mac Moore.
Well, what you're going to get here, Leo, is what the Bombers were counting on is for the BC Lions when they show motion to overextend themselves, and then they're cutting Reeves back. Right now, they're down there with that goal line defense. It's
Yeah,
they've got
too many men
to get in there.
Too many men at the seams down here right now. It'd be a good place to fake and come out there with that bootleg.
Cal Murphy finally got the message through to the troops on the field. He wanted the timeout. 1:14, the time left in the first half. It will be 2nd and goal, Winnipeg from the 4-yard line. Murphy wants to confer with his quarterback, Tom Clements. Winnipeg in front 7-0.
There's no reason not to. This is the point where you do not want to make a mistake. As Leo said many times, you get down in here, get it in the end zone.
Another safe play down here when you get there on first down after you've been given the ball to Willard Reeves on that first down, and he's been experienced a lot of success. Go in there with that play-action fake and throw a real safe play-action pass, and we'll find somebody wide open, Ron. Right now, second down, they're expecting something like that. But they're close enough to the goal line that they may come with a play-action pass.
Now Cal Murphy still talking with his quarterback, Don Clement.
Don, when I was talking to Coach Matthews before the game, again talking about Kevin Lappa, the boy that had the serious operation, Coach Murphy was encouraging all the fans to send a card, a get well card, and send it in care of the BC football team. You can send that to Surrey, BC, the BC Lions, Surrey, BC, and that'll get to Kevin, and he will certainly appreciate that, I'm sure.
Second and goal from the 4-yard line. Handoff, Willard Reeves. Is he there? No signal yet. Stopped just short. Just inches away. 1 yard the signal.
Boy, Dave McNeil made a big play. The middle linebacker for the Lions. He really made the hit that stopped them. This time they're going to go after it, third down.
Well, they've got to go after it.
Third and goal from the 1 as Kapner and Stan McCallus go into the ball game.
What do you like here, Ron? Quarterback sneak or give it to Reeves?
Woody Hayes says off tackle. Down, and kick out. You got to get a yard.
Willard Reeves, touchdown.
They didn't do it, but they scored.
A little misdirection play.
He crossed them up.
He faked to one side of the line of scrimmage and then give it to Reeves back on the other side. He was wide open over the left guard. You'll see it right here. There's the fake there, and give the ball back to Reeves over the left guard, and it's just wide open. Nobody left.
Now, Leo, throughout our telecast, you've been advocating, give it to Willard Reeves. He now has 118 yards.
Well, as long as they're going to come after you with that kind of intensity with the defensive line, they've got to be giving up their rush lanes, and so there's running spots in there.
And the point after by Trevor Kenner is successful, and with just 52 seconds remaining in the half, that's a big touchdown for Winnipeg. 14-0, they now lead it.
I really believe, even though like 14 points, the Bombers have played about as perfect the first half of football as you can play. The defense is just unbelievable. They're just all over them. The BC Lions have to regroup.
Well, if Willard Reeves has many more games like this, that 1,800-yard season certainly won't be out of reach.
Yeah, he wants to get them all in one day. Tell him to slow down, Willard.
You know, next weekend on July 28th, the BC Lions will have their first 7 o'clock game out there. So all those BC fans ought to be on hand to see that game. They're playing the Montreal Concord. It's the first time that they've played at 7 o'clock out there. It should be a great game. We'll be out there.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to say, Leo. We'll be there.
Remember to get there for a 7 o'clock start, will you, Leo?
Yeah.
That's what Willard Reeves has done so far this afternoon.
If I can just get Lancaster to wake me up.
Tell you what, if the guy's going to average 8 yards a carry, Leo, give him the ball every down.
Darnell Class starting out from the end zone, having a little trouble getting on track. Frank Robinson was the first downfield, helping to bring Class down at the 23. Another CFL update now, and here again is Don Martin.
The Argos strike again before the half as Barnes rolls out, this time to the other side, and gets it to William Mitchell, his first ever offensive touchdown, and suddenly the Argos are on top 21-9, and they are threatening again with just seconds to go before the half. Let's now back to Winnipeg.
William Mitchell scoring an offensive touchdown for Toronto.
Short yardage team must have been in there.
Roy DeWalt on the far side of the field completes the pass, but Ken Haley is there to bring down Mervyn Fernandez, number 24 against number 24.
Well, they're in their hurry-up offense now.
41 seconds remaining in the first half. 14-0, Winnipeg leading. This BC team, though, can hit you quickly with the big play. Ryan Potter on 2nd and 2, breaking off tackle. Should be close to the first down. Stopped there by Aaron Brown. Ryan Potter, of course, the son of a former Winnipeg Blue Bomber, Rick Potter. Well, the response here at Winnipeg Stadium is the public address announcement of the score between Toronto and Edmonton.
This is a little surprising. I don't know what they're doing. They're third down and less than a half a yard, 29 seconds left.
Well, it was interesting to see what Winnipeg was doing on the play, Ron. They had Trevor Kennard and Bob Cameron on the field in a punt return capacity. Obviously, they were going to kick the ball.
Kick it back to that point.
Sure, with the wind that they have at their back, they may have reached the end zone with it. But they send Cowan into the ball game. He'll quarterback sneak this.
The ball has gone to the BC bench. This could be a mistake right here on third down.
Well, I looked over there at the yardstick. Well, it's only about 3 inches.
Well, apparently, Don Matthews has called a timeout. But Tim Cowan has gone into the ball game to play quarterback. And at that Winnipeg bench, the man who calls the defensive signals, Aaron Brown, is getting some instruction from Cal Murphy. 29 seconds, the time remaining. Winnipeg in front, 14-0.
But the only hope you have of stopping this, I think, is for a guy like Aaron Brown with his size, him and Robinson inside, to line up about 4 yards deep and start on the run and see if you can hit the snap right at the right instant, because he'll get through there otherwise.
Well, what have you got to win, though, going and making your first down right here? You're still 80 yards from a touchdown, and you've only got 14 seconds left. Now
27, Leo, 27.
Or 27 seconds. So 14
I'll tell you what.
You're afraid that they may block the punt?
No, they'll kick a field goal. You're not going to kick it that far into this wind, and they kick that field goal from midfield today with no problem.
Well, that might be a little problem. Midfield is quite a distance.
Well, now there's no problem.
Roy DeWalt is back in. Potter caught immediately. Donnie Taylor caught immediately by Doug McIver. Now, Don Martin with another CFL update.
Well, Don, the Argos have scored again. A recovered fumble leads to the third touchdown in a minute and a half for Toronto as Joe Barnes, a hot hand, gets it to Lester Brown. 28-9 Toronto with 8 seconds to go before halftime. Now back to Winnipeg.
Well, that quick touchdown by Brian Kelly, but since then it's been all Toronto, and this should be the final play of the half here at Winnipeg Stadium. Roy DeWalt puts the ball back to referee Ross Perrier, and that is the end of the first half here at Winnipeg Stadium. The Blue Bombers in front of the British Columbia Lions 14-0. And now we invite you to stay tuned for our halftime show.
Long ago, when all efforts failed to get rid of pests, the good folk realized they needed a professional who was skilled and equipped to handle such problems, whether they were small or large. Well, they called for the Pied Piper, who with speed and great skill took care of the problem. So the lesson of the story is, for any pest problem in home or business, call a professional. Call PCO, Canada's Pied Piper.
Low monthly payments. Incredibly low monthly payments at Don Little Ford. Look, if I told you $20 down and $169 a month for an 83 Escort, would you believe it? Of course you would. It's Little Don talking. And look, $34.95, you can get an 82 Datsun. What a deal. We got used trucks, used cars, and free air conditioners with every purchase here at Don Little Ford. So call me now at 884-9261. Say hi, Little Don.
For over 59 years, we've been showing people that a little goes a long way. Looking to increase the value and beauty of your home without spending a lot of money? Look to Unilock Paving Stones. We manufacture 7 styles of stone, giving you ultimate flexibility in design and application. We can arrange custom installation or give you a free do-it-yourself instruction guide. To be sure you're getting guaranteed quality, value, and durability, make sure you get our name on it. Unilock, the statement in stone. You have our word on it.
For more information, call Unilock at 453-1438.
Welcome back to CFL 84 Control. Recapping our day here, Seve Ballesteros won the British Open by 2 over Tom Watson, and Bernhard Langer. Niki Lauda won the accident-delayed British Grand Prix ahead of Derek Warwick. And in the Queen's Plate, Key to the Moon outdueled Let's Go Blue in the stretch to win it by a neck. Major League Baseball, the Detroit Tigers have shut out Texas 2-0, so the Blue Jays must win in Seattle to stay 9 games back in the East, and they are now down 2-0, playing in the 4th inning in the Kingdome. The Expos start later this evening in Houston in the National League. In the CFL this weekend, the Calgary Stampeders knocked off Hamilton 23-18 on Friday night, while Ottawa beat Montreal 31-28 last night. In Calgary, Hamilton went with Peter Gales with Peter Brock out with back spasms, but watch what happens when Gales is hit by Richie Hall. It knocks the ball loose. Larry Hogue picks it up and runs it in 68 yards for the touchdown. It gives Calgary a 10-0 lead. Then in the 4th quarter, Bernard Quarles gets one for the offense, hitting Lewis Walker out of the backfield. This one goes 86 yards for the touchdown as the Stampeders win it 23-18 at McMahon Stadium before a crowd of just over 20,000 on Friday night. Last night in Montreal, it is tied at 17 in the 3rd quarter as J.C. Watts finds Tyrone Gray in the end zone, 32 yards for Gray's 2nd touchdown of the night, and Ottawa's in front, 24-17. Just 6 minutes later, it's Watts to Gray again, TD number 3 for the team, from 17 yards away as the Riders stretch it out 31-17. The Concord try to come back in the 4th quarter as Charlie McMahon gets it in the end zone from 3 yards away, but it's not enough as Ottawa wins it 31-28 for fewer than 20,000 at Olympic Stadium last night in Montreal. We'll be back with Close-Up with Barbara McLeod when CFL 84 continues in a moment.
In Los Angeles this summer, for the first time ever, an Olympic women's marathon will be run. Who will win this historic event? Will it be the world champion, Greta Weitz from Norway, world best performer, Joan Benoit of the US, or Canada's Jacqueline Garreau? The men's marathon is run on the final day of the Games. It, too, promises to be a great race. I'm Jeff Gowan. Share the Olympic experience on CBC television.
The best way to enjoy the Olympics is by the book. The CBC Guide to the Summer Olympics from CBC Enterprises. It's the perfect companion to our games coverage. Chock full of helpful diagrams, photographs, expert descriptions of every single event. There are close-up looks at the competitors with special emphasis on our Canadian athletes and their chances to win. The places, the dates, the history, all right at your fingertips. The CBC Guide to the Summer Olympics, available at bookstores everywhere.
Most of us go through dozens of doorways each day without giving it a second thought. But not all doors are open to the disabled. United Way rehabilitation agencies are helping to change public attitudes about the problems of the disabled. With United Way's support, the disabled are able to provide insight to architects and planners.
Our United Way dollars are opening a lot of new doors. Thanks to you, it works for all of us, the United Way.
Number 4 veteran safety Nelson Martin has been with the BC Lions 4 seasons. He was their number 1 draft choice in 1981. Last year, he recorded 62 initial tackles, 18 assists, and picked off 4 interceptions. He's an outstanding athlete, and he lives in Toronto in the off-season.
Well, I'm Nelson Martin, Jr. And my father named me after him, and we had a strange relationship. It wasn't like the typical father and son. He was more like my friend. He used to drink with a lot of my friends back in Toronto, and we'd party together. I remember going on the Danforth with him and going into one of those old bars, the pubs they call them, having a beer with him. When I was a little boy, I used to take me to the racetrack. We'd be walking home, and I'd tell him, "Dad, my legs hurt." And he'd pick me up, put me on his shoulders. And these things I never forget. He was my best friend. And, when I lost him, I realized, what a father is and what friendship is all about. It taught me a lot about accepting death as being inevitable. But I'll never forget about him, and like I said, the day doesn't go by that I don't think about him.
You're a very philosophical kind of guy. You do a lot of reading. It's not what one would ordinarily expect of a football player.
It's got to go back to my upbringing. My parents were serious people. They enjoyed themselves, but they wanted to make sure that I always kept myself on an even keel, not to let too many things go to my head, and always have a lot of self-respect. So it seems as though I examine myself and my behavior constantly.
Did you find it annoying when I said it's unlike a football player to read? I mean, didn't I just stereotype you?
I think that in life we all are stereotyped according to our role. I mean, the president, he's stereotyped as being a certain way. Salesmen have a certain stereotype, teachers, etc. So the stereotype that comes along with a football player is that he's very brutal. It's a business, and people invest money in us. People pay to watch us play, and you have to realize that to be a professional football player, you have to make that transition because it's not college or high school anymore. So to a certain extent, those who don't adapt are the ones that suffer when the game is over because you can't play it forever.
So what are you going to do when the game is over?
Hopefully I can be happy and live a healthy life. Right now,
Got to eat, though.
You have to eat. There you go. And that's why I went back to school to study real estate. Hopefully I'll be able to sell a few houses and keep my belly full.
You have a very interesting bunch of guys on your team, a lot of different backgrounds, a lot of different personalities, and yet when you get out in the field, it really seems to work.
Come game time, we become an instant family. We don't seem to hold any grudges. We really get together and say, okay, we have a job, and the job is to win, and let's do whatever we have to do to win.
Are you ever lonely?
Yeah, I get lonely, but I try to tell myself that I'm not.
We all do that.
Yeah, I try to con myself into thinking that everything is rosy.
You cook?
I have to. It's too expensive to eat out every night.
Now listen, you're a pretty gorgeous single man. Have you ever thought about settling down?
If I find that special woman, I'll get married. If I don't, I won't get married. That doesn't necessarily mean there won't be a Nelson Jr., but marriage is something far in the future.
Well, that was Nelson Martin's obviously playful side. As you could tell, he's a very thoughtful guy. In fact, Don, he says he's a perfectionist, and this is only his second year playing safety.
He used to play quarterback at one time, was
Right.
a receiver. And he's from Toronto, but plays for BC. Is there a little bitterness that the Argos didn't pick him up?
Actually, no, he was talking about that. He said he had a kind of funny reputation when he was in Toronto as maybe not taking it seriously enough. But as it turns out, of course, he takes everything very seriously.
Now, we hear a lot about athletes making hundreds of thousands
Big
of dollars a
dollars.
year. That's right. Tell us what kind of car Nelson drives.
I know, I love that because I said, you know, big money, big flashy cars. He said, look, I drive a rented Chevette.
Ah, he should have stuck to being a quarterback.
Tell us the story.
Thanks, Barb, very much. We'll be back with first half highlights from both games when CFL 84 continues in a moment.
This summer in Los Angeles, the incomparable Greg Louganis, current 3-meter and power world diving champion, tries to be the first man in 56 years to win both events at the Olympics. But China's Tan Hui could take the tower, preventing the medal sweep. In women's events, Chen Chao-Chai of China could take both 3- and 10-meter gold. In the 3-meter, Montreal's Sylvie Bernier goes after Canada's first medal since Irene McDonald's bronze in 1956. I'm Ted Reynolds. Share the Olympic experience on CBC television.
Welcome back to CFL 84 Control. The way things started this afternoon in Toronto, it looked as if the Argos were headed for their third straight loss. But at the moment, they are way up on the Edmonton Eskimos. It is now, if you can believe this, 28-9 Toronto in the first half. As we pick up the action in the first quarter, the Eskimos take a 7-0 lead. A surprise starter, Johnny Evans, gets it to Brian Kelly, who does the rest on his own. 50 yards for his 9th touchdown of the young season, and it's 7-0 Edmonton in the first quarter. Then Joe Barnes came in for Conridge Holloway, and the Argos get on the scoreboard quickly. 60 yards, the pass goes to Terry Greer, who is wide open for the score, but the Eskimos still led it 8-7 in the second quarter. It was 9-7 late in the half. Barnes rolls out, pumps twice, hits Terry Greer with the 4-yard touchdown pass. 14-9 Toronto. And moments later, the Argos strike again before the half as Barnes rolls out and gets it to William Mitchell, his first ever offensive touchdown. And suddenly the Argos are on top 21-9. And they score again just a minute later. A recovered fumble leads to a third touchdown in a minute and a half for Toronto as Joe Barnes with a hot hand gets it to Lester Brown 28-9. And the Argos lead it at halftime. Barnes, by the way, 11 of 15 in that second quarter as he takes over from Conridge Holloway. 14-0, Winnipeg leads to BC as we return in just a moment.
Hi, I am A. A isn't fat. Let me tell you right off the bat, these days fat is not where it's at. But how can I go from fatness to fitness? Watch me right here. You be my witness. Get up and get moving. It's time for action. Start walking. That's a step in the right direction. Take one extra step. From walking to hiking, one more step gets you right up to biking. Soon the shape you're in will be more to your liking. You'll feel like a hero, a cowboy, a Viking. You may never become a champion swimmer, but a few laps a day can make you slimmer and trimmer. Play ball games and all games like soccer and tennis, and suddenly your weight is no longer a menace. Soon you're smooth and lean like a fox, all hustle and muscle, just like an ox. Yes, little by little, you're fit as a fiddle. Now I am the I wanted to be. And getting into fitness has done it for me. Ho-ho!
Canadians are into fitness now.
This is Daley Thompson of Great Britain, the current Olympic decathlon champion, regarded as perhaps the greatest athlete in the world. In Los Angeles this summer, he sets out to defend his title against the world record holder, Jürgen Hinkson of West Germany. 10 grueling events over 2 days. Will Thompson be the first man since the legendary Bob Mathias in 1952 to win the Olympic decathlon twice in succession? I'm Jeff Gowan. Share the Olympic experience on CBC television.
Frank Robinson made 2 big defensive plays for Winnipeg in the first half. The linebacker acquired from Saskatchewan has great speed, and he used it in the first 30 minutes.
Thank you. It's really a pleasure to be with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. It's such a fine football club. And any way I can contribute, I'm just happy to be here.
Well, defensively, what was your game plan going in here?
Well, we knew we had to put pressure on Roy DeWalda, and it seemed like we've done that so far. And hopefully the second half we put more pressure on him so he doesn't have time to hit Mervyn deep downfield in those crossing patterns.
Well, I think one of the reasons that Coach Murphy wanted you in there is that he felt, as a linebacker, you had the speed to run with some of those receivers.
Well, thanks a lot. I guess God has blessed me with a lot of speed, and, you know, I'm just happy to be playing. Any way I can help the Blue Bombers, I'm just pleased to be here.
That's one thing the linebacking contingent with Winnipeg does have, is that great speed. Fowler is fast, you're fast, Tyrone Jones moves quickly.
Yes, that's true. You know, it seems like you have four or five, you know, really good linebackers that can run and cover the pass. And, you know, like I said, we got a whole other half to go, and BC's very explosive. Hopefully we can shut them out the second half also.
Can you keep it up?
We hope so. We know we can.
Frank Robinson talking about the first half of this football game, and number 37 was downfield to help bring down Henry Vereen after the kickoff by Trevor Kennard of 61 yards. And statistically, the BC Lions, look at that figure, net offense, -2 yards. Winnipeg with 204 yards in offense. And that pretty much tells the story of how fired up this Winnipeg Blue Bomber defensive unit has been this afternoon. The pass complete over the middle. Ryan Potter gets to the 40-yard line and is brought down there by Wiley Turner. Something that DeWalt will probably have to do, start dumping it off very quickly.
BC's going to their hurry-up offense right now. Maybe this not allow Winnipeg to substitute on second down.
2nd and 3. John Henry White still on the bench as Donnie Taylor gets the call, keeps struggling, but does not make the first down. Aaron Brown came across to make the contact with him. John Henry White was shaken up late in the first half when he fumbled the football after contact by Aaron Brown. And right now, the BC Lions are going with two Canadian running backs, Potter and Don Taylor.
That was another great case of how Aaron Brown can close the distance with that great speed. As soon as he diagnosed run, he just came up there and just tackled him almost right on the line of scrimmage. He did the same thing on that pass play when he got there to John Henry White. He just closed the distance on that screen and just nailed him. And as a result, John Henry's not in there the second half.
Third down kick hangs up in that breeze. Scott Flagel takes it up the 35-yard line, and Flagel, the short man on that punt return unit, got it back to the 44 where Jay McGuise made the stop. A Lou Pasaglia punt that traveled 32 yards. Scott Flagel ran it back 9.
Brown, an early determination in this third quarter by either team for supremacy is going to mean an awful lot. Now, if the Winnipeg Blue Bombers should come out and take that ball marching downfield, that could really take the starch out of the BC Lions.
Well, it sure does. That's why the early part of the third quarter is just like starting a new game.
Sean Kehoe picked up maybe a yard, stopped by Bernie Gleer. First time anybody but Willard Reeves has carried the ball on a running play for Winnipeg. They credit Kehoe with a pickup of 2. It will be 2nd and 8. Ball at the 46-yard line. Picked off by Larry Crawford. And Crawford is decked at the 54-yard line. Rick House, the intended receiver.
All right, they put a blitz on, and they're trying to open this seam right here. You'll see Nelson Martin come on a safety blitz, and what this does, it puts those men in precarious position one-on-one. He gets there a little bit too late. Bernie Gleer was faster, but it is a great individual effort right there. That ball tipped in the air, and then Parker picks it off.
Billy McBride tipped it, and Crawford picked it off.
Now, the BC Lions are going to have to do something right now in order to set some kind of a precedent in the second half.
Sideline pattern incomplete. Henry Vereen, the intended receiver, covered by Ken Haley.
You know, the Winnipeg defense, when you hold a team to -2 yards for 30 minutes, you can't play any better. But the thing with BC is Winnipeg's going to have to come out and do the same thing again, or those Lions will explode on them. I mean, they got to start this quarter out and dominate, as Leo said. They've got to dominate from the start.
2nd and 10 from the 52. DeWalt's in trouble. Frank Robinson was there again. In the first half, Tyrone Jones had a 13-yard sack. Jones again for 18, and Robinson for a 6-yard loss. Robinson for a loss of 26 this time. With help from Tyrone Jones, it's a 9-yard loss.
And when you talk about Tyrone Jones and Robinson having all that speed, along with Del Bauer at the linebacker, that number 55, Tony Norman, coming in there, has got a little speed too.
And he's tall. He's got great speed, great range.
14-0, Winnipeg leading with 11:58 left in this third quarter. Good kick by Pasaglia. It bounces to Ken Haley back at the 9-yard line. Haley still on his feet down the sidelines. They rule, however, that he stepped out at the 36. So the Blue Bombers have a 28-yard return by Ken Haley after a kick of 53. We'll be back after this.
The men's 1,500 meters is traditionally the premier race of the Olympic Games. Past winners have included the great Peter Snell in 1964, Kip Keino in '68, and John Walker in Montreal in 1976. In Los Angeles this summer, whose name will be added to this illustrious list? Defending champion Sebastian Coe, his arch rival Steve Ovett, or fellow countryman Steve Cram, the world champion? I'm Jeff Gowan. Share the Olympic experience on CBC television.
The leaders of Canada's major political parties debate the issues affecting Canadians. Encounter 84, Wednesday. The Olympic experience. Be there
every day with CBC Television. Share the Olympic experience on CBC Television.
It's East versus West in the CFL next week with 4 interconference matchups, including the surprising Montreal Concords and the BC Lions from BC Place here on the full CBC network following the Olympic opening ceremony.
The Blue Bombers are first and 10 from their own 36. Sideline for Boyd, trying to get some blocking help. It doesn't develop. The BC Lions with James Parker and Billy McBride made sure of that.
I was watching during the timeout right there. Chris Walby, they were playing some jazzy music in the background. He was out there dancing to it. He's about 6'20". He looks like a water buffalo at a church picnic. Not as nifty as the bird they call the elephant.
Got a lot of courage making those comments about a guy the size of Chris Walby. Rick House, no catch. Larry Crawford was helping the official make the call there just in case he missed it.
Well, the referee was right on top of it, but Crawford cut in front for that interception and the ball was low, so if he does catch it, he's going to get up and run. Crawford's going to help him.
The Iowa State product, one of the outstanding defensive backs in the Canadian Football League. Good coverage here on Rick House.
What do you think, Leo? I think it hit the ground.
Yeah, I think Rick House does too, or there would have been a lot more of an argument there.
Bob Cameron's third down kick goes out of bounds at the 18-yard line. A 51-yard kick by Bob Cameron. 10:33, the time remaining here in the third quarter. Well, veteran Ottawa Rough Rider kicker Jerry Organ retired this past season, and the football team will be honoring Jerry Organ with a big day on July the 29th. Complete over the middle. Don Taylor fighting his way out to the 25-yard line. Stopped there by Frank Robinson. Pickup of 7. It will be 2nd and 3.
Boy, you just keep waiting for the BC Lions to break loose, but the coverage and the rush both by the Blue Bombers has really held them in abeyance this whole ball game.
You know, further to Jerry Organ's retirement, 12 seasons with the Ottawa Rough Riders after starting in 1971, and he amassed a total of 16 club records and shared a 17th record with Rider assistant coach Don Sutherland. So for all the football fans in the Ottawa area, an opportunity to honor Jerry Organ, July the 29th, when the Ottawa Rough Riders entertain the Saskatchewan Rough Riders. And apparently there is a problem over at that BC bench as referee Ross Perrier goes over there to talk to one of the assistant coaches.
Probably can't hear. Probably the communication is broken down. If that's the case, then they'll come to the Winnipeg side and take one of their headsets away from them until it's fixed.
Cal Murphy, who is in communication with the press box and the spotters upstairs, talking to Tom Clements as Ross Perrier explains the situation to one of the sideline officials. And now to Winnipeg coach Cal Murphy. Well, obviously, they're having some problem with the headphones. Frank Robinson has come out. Stan McCullough has gone in. Second and 3. DeWalt throwing to Fernandez. He breaks the first tackle and gets the first down. .9:30 the time remaining in the third quarter.
Just sprints out and got Fernandez out there. This is where Fernandez is quick and tough, Leo, as you said earlier. He'll make that move and get away, but he slips. But he does get the first down, and really, that's all you really want.
Well, looking at this defense, they're taking away a lot from the outside, especially the deep passes. It's about time that they go to the post pattern.
Pressure again. Tyrone Jones has Roy DeWalt. He is through so unbelievably quick.
Oh, he just jumped right inside, that's all, and then he comes over and gets hold of DeWalt. He's awful strong.
Signed him as the result of a free agent camp last year. What a find he has been for Winnipeg.
That's why they have him. If you can get one, and they got a good one.
That'll pay for all that gas.
Second and 17. Pressure again. Robinson.
Well, the amazing thing about this is that they don't only have people in there on top of DeWalt.
The hole opens right in the middle. Again, a straight shot, but the best job is done here. They don't allow that quarterback to step out. He cannot escape. Right up the middle, Robinson comes, and nowhere for that quarterback to go.
Yeah, but Ron, apart from that, I was looking downfield when they were putting all that pressure on him, and every receiver was covered.
Team defense, Leo. That's why they call the team, right?
It's awful demoralizing for the BC Lions. They've got to get something going if they want to get back in this ball game.
Third down try was fumbled by Kehoe, but Haley recovered, and he covered up. So the Bombers will have good field position to start their next offensive series with 7:58 remaining in the third quarter.
Major! Major! At 2 years old, Major is ready. Training him will take time and care, a determination to do things right. We take the same time and care brewing Carlsberg, to brew it right. Carlsberg is for people the world over who like things done right.
So when it comes to your beer, and good friends are here, make it a Carlsberg. Carlsberg doing it right.
2 years since its introduction, this compact pickup is leapt ahead of all its competitors, overtaken the imports, overtaken the domestics. Ford Ranger, now #1 in compact pickups. #1 in sales. In North America, Ranger outsells Chevy S10, Toyota, and Nissan. #1 in quality. Owner survey shows no one beats Ranger, import or domestic. And now Ranger is #1 in price, lowest of any compact pickup. Ford Ranger, #1 in quality, sales, and value. And built Ford tough.
Well, it's been a frustrating afternoon so far for the BC Lions after putting a lot of points on the board in their first two games against Edmonton and the Toronto Argonauts. So far this afternoon against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, they have been shut right down. As a matter of fact, in terms of total offense, they're in the red. They're in the minus category. Willard Reeves tried to get outside, but Billy McBride made sure he didn't. Willard Reeves, as a runner, had been restricted to only 77 yards through the first two games of the 1984 season. He surpassed that total in the first half today.
Well, if they're going to run, they still should run from tackle to tackle, but I think probably Coach Matthews told that defensive line to be a little bit more alert to the run, so that ought to make the pass rush a little less devastating on Clemens.
Second and 12, movement at the line of scrimmage, penalty flag. Here's a free one, going deep for Murphy. Incomplete. It appeared as though Nick Hebler jumped offside.
Well, they were going to come again. They got the safety man up. They had Hebler up. They were going to come, and he couldn't stay onside. Look at them. They're all anxious to come. Get that free shot. Tom's going to take advantage of it. Good coverage.
Darnell Clash had position on James Murphy. Murphy protesting, pointing to Clash, claiming he was interfered with, but there was no interference in the view of the officials, and I don't think in the opinion of most of the fans at the stadium either. It's now 2nd and 7. 5-yard penalty assessed against BC after Willard Reeves lost 5. It's Willard Reeves again. Willard Reeves lost 2, I should say, and now Willard Reeves picks up about 5, but Winnipeg will be short of a first down. Well, over at the BC bench, apparently Roy DeWalt had an injury to his left hand, and they have had to do some repair work. You see some tape on the fingers of his left hand as number 9 walks back and forth on the sideline. Bob Cameron punting on 3rd down. Winnipeg does have a fake punt. Here it is. Willard Reeves.
Well, it's just a direct snap. Dan Huckluck kicks out and makes the key block. Boy, put somebody right in his back, and Reeves stumbled through there and got the first down.
If Reeves don't stumble, he may go for about 20 on that one.
Until he gets the football.
Here comes the blitz.
John Sturdivant was the man who got through to Roy DeVault.
Holding, BC number 68, declined.
All right, here. Here's the guy that holds. He'll drop back here. The holding will take place right in front of the referee's eyes. And there was an ill-thrown pass, but you'll see the holding right at the top. You'll see the jersey stretch right there. He had a hold of it.
Well, if you're going to waste the ball and throw it away, you better get it out of bounds and don't throw it out in the flat because it's just lucky you didn't run for a touchdown with it.
You're right. Should have never thrown that football.
So the Blue Bombers take over 1st and 10 at their own 53-yard line.
You know, both of these teams have had a lot of chances this first half to break the other team's back. They just don't want to do it.
3:34 at the time remaining here in the first half. Don Clements conferring with head coach Cal Murphy. He has hit on 8 of 14 pass attempts. Just 77 yards, the result of throwing the football, however.
Cal's probably telling them we at least want a field goal out of this, so move it down there.
Quickly inside. Rick House has a first down at the 40. Mal Bird, who bruised his shoulder earlier in the game, came over to make the tackle on Rick House. 3:08 the time remaining in the first half. Winnipeg leading by a score of 4-0, and the Bombers have great field position when we return.
We want to change your mind about your favorite chainsaw because Solo brings new technology in chainsaw design, allowing low overall weight, yet backing high-performance engines. Electronic ignition, safety throttle lock, handguard, and chain brake are all standard features. Solo, the new chainsaw generation for the professional and the handyman. All Solo chainsaws boast low weight, safety, anti-vibration, and high degrees of reliability and durability. Very new and very Solo.
From JVC, brand new dimensions in sight and sound. A full line of VCRs, all with JVC's amazing 4-head recording system. High-definition TVs that are fully remote and ready for the video age. JVC, taking you beyond innovation to bring you the pictures of the future. Available at these selected locations.
Well, at halftime, we'll have an update on that other CFL encounter, Edmonton and Toronto. And Barb McLeod will be talking with the safety of the British Columbia Lions, Nelson Martin. First down from the 42. Clements with time, throwing it out in the flat. John Keogh got inside the 35-yard line and then was thrown back. I would think, though, that's a dangerous pass to be thrown.
You are absolutely correct. And again, they're in real good field position. And I thought when Cal Murphy called them over that he was going to say something like, listen, take that 3-step drop and hit the uncovered guys. Either that or give the ball to Reeves on the inside and let him run with it because they got to get 3 points out of this thing down here at least.
Well, they give it to Reeves this time. He breaks off tackle. Nelson Martin made the stop, but Willard Reeves should be over 100 yards or at least very close to it with that run. 17 yards the game.
Now they got to repeat this over again. Watch him bust in here now. They're going to be coming again the same way they were that time. They're in 3-down territory now, inside the 20-yard line. Don't do anything foolish. Just control the football.
First and 10 from the 17. There it is. Joe Poplawski at the 5-yard line. First down, Winnipeg.
You think he was expecting a blitz? He put both backs in the backfield. They blitzed him. Poplawski's open underneath.
And Ron, if you're going to throw the ball down there, that's the place to throw it in the middle. Don't throw it off the outside. Throw it in the middle and run it in the middle. Just keep it moving.
First and goal, Winnipeg from the 5-yard line. Rolling to his right. Clements being chased by Hebler. Throws into the end zone, incomplete. Looking for James Murphy.
Again, there was first down. It was a very ill-advised play again by Clemens. He shouldn't have thrown that football. There was too many white shirts in that area. He was getting a lot of pressure from Hebler and those linemen on the outside.
You know, you would think with all these people coming over here that he couldn't get through clean, but Hebler does, and he chases Clemens right out. Watch him. Just shrugs off that block, and now he can run also.
Now you see Clemens, he's got his shoulders turned away from the field. He's got to throw the ball off balance, and that's the kind of a ball you get intercepted right there.
Second and goal from the 5. The fake to Willard Reed. Into the end zone, incomplete. Poplawski protesting to the official that he was interfered with by Larry Crawford, but there was no flag.
I'll tell you one thing, if you're going to have one-on-one coverage on Poplawski on the field, Ron, you want that Crawford to be on him.
I'll tell you what, I don't see any complaints. I think the BC guy's in a better possession to catch the ball. There's no interference there.
Great job by Crawford.
Sure was.
In that game between Toronto and Edmonton, a missed field goal by Dave Cutler has gone for a single point, and Edmonton now leads 9-7. Trevor Kennard with a field goal attempt. It is good. 1:45 remaining in the first half here at Winnipeg Stadium. The Blue Bombers in front of the British Columbia Lions 7-0. A 13-yard field goal by Trevor Kennard.
And there's been a pile of football played to only have 7 points scored.
So it will be a 1st and 10 situation now for the British Columbia Lions from the 35-yard line. Cal Murphy exuded a certain amount of confidence when we talked with him prior to the game, didn't he?
Boy, he sure did. I didn't think anybody'd be excited about playing the BC Lions, but he was really looking forward to it.
DeWalt setting up the screen. The ball is loose. Oh, what a hit. Winnipeg got it. What a hit.
All right, watch this good. Right here. Aaron Brown will drop. They set the screen up right here, but watch him come on the line. He will really put a hit on him. Watch him come running. All right, here comes the screen. Now watch. Boom. Well, I'll tell you, that's reading and hitting pretty well, isn't it? John Henry White's a little slow going off the field.
You think Frank Robinson is enjoying things this afternoon? Right now, let's go to Toronto for another CFL update.
Joe Burns rolls out, pumps once, pumps twice, and hits Terry Greer in the end zone with a 4-yard touchdown pass. Greer's second touchdown of the day, and the Argos move in front for the first time, 14-9, less than 2 minutes before the half. Now let's get back to Don Whitman in Winnipeg.
Just before the half here, 1:34 to be exact. That was Willard Reeves bursting off tackle for another Winnipeg first down to the 18-yard line, a run of 16.
Just keep giving him the ball and throwing short. Don't get it out in the flat.
Willard Reeves again. Down to the 5-yard line. There's a penalty flag in the end zone as well.
Roughing against BC.
That time, Reeves carried for 12 yards. And he now is 115 for the game.
Major foul, unnecessary ripping, BC number 4. First down.
Nelson Martin guilty of the roughing in the end zone. And Winnipeg with 1:24 remaining in the half at the 3-yard line. It's now 1st and goal.
I wonder if Tommy will remember how he got down here.
Willard Reeves met right at the line of scrimmage by Mac Moore.
Well, what you're going to get here, Leo, is what the Bombers were counting on is for the BC Lions when they show motion to overextend themselves, and then they're cutting Reeves back. Right now, they're down there with that goal line defense. It's going to be a little difficult to get in there.
Too many men in the seams down here right now. It'd be a good place to fake and come out there with that bootleg.
Cal Murphy finally got the message through to the troops on the field. He wanted the timeout. 1:14, the time left in the first half. It will be second and goal, Winnipeg from the 4-yard line. Murphy wants to confer with his quarterback, Tom Clements. Winnipeg in front 7-0.
There's no reason not to. This is the point where you do not want to make a mistake. As Leo said many times, you get down in here, get it in the end zone.
Another safe play down here when you get there on first down after you've been given the ball to Willard Reeves on that first down, and he's going to experience a lot of success. Go in there with that play-action fake and throw a real safe play-action pass, and liable to find somebody wide open, Ron. Right now, second down, they're expecting something like that. But they're close enough to the goal line that they may come with a play-action pass.
Now Cal Murphy still talking with his quarterback, Tom Clements.
Don, when I was talking to Coach Matthews before the game, again talking about Kevin Lappa, the boy that had the serious operation, Coach Murphy was encouraging all the fans to send a card, a get well card, and send it in care of the BC football team. You can send that to Surrey, BC, the BC Lions, Surrey, BC, and that'll get to Kevin, and he will certainly appreciate that, I'm sure.
Second and goal from the 4-yard line. Handoff, Willard Reeves. Is he there? No signal yet. Stopped just short. Just inches away. 1 yard to signal.
Boy, Dave McNeil made a big play. The middle linebacker for the Lions. He really made the hit that stopped them. This time they're going to go after it, third down.
Well, they've got to go after it.
Third and goal from the 1 as Kapner and Stan McCowis go into the ball game.
What do you like here, Ron? Quarterback sneak or give it to Reeves?
Woody Hayes says off tackle. Down, and kick out. You got to get a yard.
Willard Reeves, touchdown.
They didn't do it, but they scored.
A little misdirection play.
He crossed them up.
He faked to one side of the line of scrimmage and then give it to Reeves back on the other side. He was wide open over the left guard. You'll see it right here. There's the fake there, and give the ball back to Reeves over the left guard, and it's just wide open. Nobody left.
Well, Leo, throughout our telecast, you've been advocating, give it to Willard Reeves. He now has 118 yards.
Well, as long as they're going to come after you with that kind of intensity with the defensive line, they've got to be giving up their rush lanes, and so there's running spots in there.
And the point after by Trevor Kenner is successful, and with just 52 seconds remaining in the half, that's a big touchdown for Winnipeg. 14-0, they now lead them.
I really believe, even though like 14 points, the Bombers have played about as perfect the first half of football as you can play. The defense is just unbelievable. They're just all over them. The BC Lions have to regroup.
Well, if Willard Reeves has many more games like this, that 1,800-yard season certainly won't be out of reach.
Yeah, he wants to get them all in one day. Tell him to slow down, Willard.
You know, next weekend on July 28th, the BC Lions will have their first 7 o'clock game out there. All those BC fans ought to be on hand to see that game. They're playing the Montreal Concorde. The first time that they've played at 7 o'clock out there. It should be a great game. We'll be out there.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say, Leo. We'll be there.
Remember to get there for a 7 o'clock start, will you, Leo?
Yeah.
That's what Willard Reeves has done so far this afternoon.
If I can just get Lancaster to wake me up.
Tell you what, if the guy's going to average 8 yards a carry, Leo, give him the ball every down.
Darnell Class starting out from the end zone, having a little trouble getting on track. Frank Robinson was the first downfield, helping to bring Class down at the 23. Another CFL update now, and here again is Don Martin.
The Argos strike again before the half as Bar
2 yards. Winnipeg with 204 yards in offense. And that pretty much tells the story of how fired up this Winnipeg Blue Bomber defensive unit has been this afternoon. The pass complete over the middle. Brian Potter gets to the 40-yard line and is brought down there by Wiley Turner. Something that DeWalt will probably have to do, start dumping it off very quickly.
BC's going to their hurry-up offense right now. Maybe this not allow Winnipeg to substitute on second down.
Second and 3, John Henry White still on the bench as Donnie Taylor gets the call, keeps struggling, but does not make the first down. Aaron Brown came across to make the contact with him. John Henry White was shaken up late in the first half when he fumbled the football after contact by Aaron Brown. And right now, the BC Lions are going with two Canadian running backs, Potter and Don Taylor.
That was another great case of how Aaron Brown can close the distance with that great speed. As soon as he diagnosed run, he just came up there and just tackled him almost right on the line of scrimmage. He did the same thing on that pass play when he got there to John Henry White. He just closed the distance on that screen and just nailed him. As a result, John Henry's not in there the second half.
Third down kick hangs up in that breeze. Scott Flagel takes it at the 35-yard line, and Flagel, the short man on that punt return unit, got it back to the 44 where Jay Muguiz made the stop. A Lou Pasaglia punt that traveled 32 yards. Scott Flagel ran it back 9.
Ron, an early determination in this third quarter by either team for supremacy is going to mean an awful lot. Now, if the Winnipeg Blue Bombers should come out and take that ball marching downfield, that could really take the starch out of the BC Lions.
Well, it sure does. That's why the early part of the third quarter is just like starting a new game.
Sean Kehoe picked up maybe a yard, stopped by Bernie Gleer. First time anybody but Willard Reeves has carried the ball on a running play for Winnipeg. They credit Kehoe with a pickup of 2. It will be 2nd and 8. Ball at the 46-yard line. Picked off by Larry Crawford. And Crawford is decked at the 54-yard line. Rick House, the intended receiver.
All right, they put a blitz on, and they're trying to open this seam right here. You'll see Nelson Martin come on a safety blitz, and what this does, it puts those men in precarious position one-on-one. He gets there a little bit too late. Bernie Gleer was faster, but it is a great individual effort right there. That ball tipped in the air, and then Parker picks it off.
Billy McBride tipped it, and Crawford picked it off.
Now, the BC Lions are going to have to do something right now in order to set some kind of a precedent in the second half.
Sideline pattern incomplete. Henry Vereen, the intended receiver, covered by Ken Haley.
You know, the Winnipeg defense, when you hold a team to -2 yards for 30 minutes, you can't play any better. But the thing with BC is Winnipeg's going to have to come out and do the same thing again, or those Lions will explode on them. I mean, they got to start this quarter out and dominate, as Leo said. They've got to dominate from the start.
2nd and 10 from the 52. DeWalt's in trouble. Frank Robinson was there again. In the first half, Tyrone Jones had a 13-yard sack. Jones again for 18, then Robinson for a 6-yard loss. Robinson for a loss of 26 this time. With help from Tyrone Jones, it's a 9-yard loss.
And when you talk about Tyrone Jones and Robinson having all that speed along with Del Bauer at the linebacker, that number 55, Tony Norman, coming in there, has got a little speed too.
And he's tall. He's got great speed, great range.
14-0, Winnipeg leading with 11:58 left in this third quarter. Good kick by Pasaglia. It bounces to Ken Haley back at the 9-yard line. Haley still on his feet down the sidelines. They rule, however, that he stepped out at the 36. So the Blue Bombers have a 28-yard return by Ken Haley after a kick of 53. We'll be back after this.
The men's 1,500 meters is traditionally the premier race of the Olympic Games. Past winners have included the great Peter Snell in 1964, Kip Keano in '68, and John Walker in Montreal in 1976. In Los Angeles this summer, whose name will be added to this illustrious list? Defending champion Sebastian Coe, his arch rival Steve Ovett, or fellow countryman Steve Cram, the world champion? I'm Jeff Gowan. Share the Olympic experience on CBC television.
The leaders of Canada's major political parties debate the issues affecting Canadians. Encounter 84, Wednesday.
The Olympic experience. Be there every day with CBC Television. Share the Olympic experience on CBC Television.
It's East versus West in the CFL next week with 4 interconference matchups, including the surprising Montreal Concords and the BC Lions from BC Place here on the full CBC network following the Olympic opening ceremony.
The Blue Bombers are 1st and 10 from their own 36. Sideline for Boyd, trying to get some blocking help. It doesn't develop. The BC Lions with James Parker and Billy McBride made sure of that.
I was watching during the timeout right there. Chris Walby, they were playing some jazzy music in the background. He was out there dancing to it. He's about 6'20". He looks like a water buffalo at a church picnic. Not as nifty as the bird they call the elephant.
He's got a lot of courage making those comments about a guy the size of Chris Walby. Rick House, no catch. Larry Crawford was helping the official make the call there just in case he missed it.
Well, the referee was right on top of it, but Crawford cut in front for that interception and the ball was low, so if he does catch it, he's going to get up and run. Crawford's going to help him.
The Iowa State product, one of the outstanding defensive backs in the Canadian Football League. Good coverage here on Rick House.
What do you think, Leo? I think it hit the ground.
Yeah, I think Rick House does too, or there would have been a lot more of an argument there.
Bob Cameron's 3rd down kick goes out of bounds at the 18-yard line. A 51-yard kick by Bob Cameron. 10:33, the time remaining here in the 3rd quarter. Well, veteran Ottawa Rough Rider kicker Jerry Organ retired this past season, and the football team will be honoring Jerry Organ with a big day on July the 29th. Complete over the middle. Don Taylor fighting his way out to the 25-yard line. Stopped there by Frank Robinson. Pickup of 7. It will be 2nd and 3.
Boy, you just keep waiting for the BC Lions to break loose, but the coverage and the rush both by the Blue Bombers has really held them in abeyance this whole ballgame.
You know, further to Jerry Organ's retirement, 12 seasons with the Ottawa Rough Riders after starting in 1971, and he amassed a total of 16 club records and shared a 17th record with Rider assistant coach Don Sutherland. So for all the football fans in the Ottawa area, an opportunity to honor Jerry Organ, July the 29th, when the Ottawa Rough Riders entertain the Saskatchewan Rough Riders. And apparently there is a problem over at that BC bench as referee Ross Perrier goes over there to talk to one of the assistant coaches.
Probably can't hear. Probably the communication is broken down. If that's the case, then they'll come to the Winnipeg side and take one of their headsets away from them until it's fixed.
Cal Murphy, who is in communication with the press box and the spotters upstairs, talking to Tom Clements as Ross Perrier explains the situation to one of the sideline officials. And now to Winnipeg coach Cal Murphy. Well, obviously they're having some problem with the headphones. Frank Robinson has come out. Stan McCullough has gone in. Second and 3. DeWalt throwing to Fernandez. He breaks the first tackle and gets the first down. .9:30 the time remaining in the third quarter.
Just sprints out, got Fernandez out there. This is where Fernandez is quick and tough, Leo, as you said earlier. He'll make that move and get away, but he slips. But he does get the first down, and really, that's all you really want.
Well, looking at this defense, they're taking away a lot from the outside, especially the deep passes. It's about time that they go to the post pattern.
Pressure again. Tyrone Jones has Roy DeWalt. He is through so unbelievably quick.
Oh, he just jumped right inside, that's all, and then he comes over and gets hold of DeWalt. He's awful strong.
Signed him as the result of a free agent camp last year. What a find he has been for Winnipeg.
That's why they have him. If you can get one, and they got a good one.
That'll pay for all that gas.
Second and 17. Pressure again. Robinson.
Well, the amazing thing about this is that they don't only have people in there on top of DeWalt.
The hole opens right in the middle. Again, a straight shot, but the best job is done here. They don't allow that quarterback to step out. He cannot escape. Right up the middle, Robinson comes, and nowhere for that quarterback to go.
Yeah, but Ron, apart from that, I was looking downfield when they were putting all that pressure on him, and every receiver was covered.
Team defense, Leo. That's why they call it a team, right?
It's awful demoralizing for the BC Lions. They've got to get something going if they want to get back in this ball game.
Third down try was fumbled by Kehoe, but Haley recovered, and he covered up. So the Bombers will have good field position to start their next offensive series with 7:58 remaining in the third quarter.
Major! Major! At 2 years old, Major is ready. Training him will take time and care, a determination to do things right. We take the same time and care brewing Carlsberg, to brew it right. Carlsberg is for people the world over who like things done right.
So when it comes to your beer, and good friends are here, make it a Carlsberg. Carlsberg doing it right.
2 years since its introduction, this compact pickup is leapt ahead of all its competitors, overtaken the imports, overtaken the domestics. Ford Ranger, now #1 in compact pickups. #1 in sales. In North America, Ranger outsells Chevy S10, Toyota, and Nissan. #1 in quality. Owner survey shows no one beats Ranger, import or domestic. And now Ranger is #1 in price, lowest of any compact pickup. Ford Ranger, #1 in quality, sales, and value. And built Ford tough.
Well, it's been a frustrating afternoon so far for the BC Lions. After putting a lot of points on the board in their first two games against Edmonton and the Toronto Argonauts, so far this afternoon against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, they have been shut right down. As a matter of fact, in terms of total offense, they're in the red. They're in the minus category. Willard Reeves tried to get outside, but Billy McBride made sure he didn't. Willard Reeves, as a runner, had been restricted to only 77 yards through the first two games of the 1984 season. He surpassed that total in the first half today.
Well, if they're going to run, they still should run from tackle to tackle, but I think probably Coach Matthews told that defensive line to be a little bit more alert to the run, so that ought to make the pass rush a little less devastating on Clemens.
Second and 12, movement at the line of scrimmage, penalty flag. Here's a free one, going deep for Murphy. Incomplete. It appeared as though Nick Hebler jumped offside.
Well, they were going to come again. They got the safety man up. They had Hebler up. They were going to come, and he couldn't stay onside. Look at him. They're all anxious to come. Get that free shot. Tom's going to take advantage of it. Good coverage.
Darnell Clash had position on James Murphy. Murphy protesting, pointing to Clash, claiming he was interfered with, but there was no interference in the view of the officials, and I don't think in the opinion of most of the fans at the stadium either. It's now 2nd and 7. 5-yard penalty assessed against BC after Willard Reeves lost 5. It's Willard Reeves again. Willard Reeves lost 2, I should say, and now Willard Reeves picks up about 5, but Winnipeg will be short of a first down. Well, over at the BC bench, apparently Roy DeWalt had an injury to his left hand, and they have had to do some repair work. You see some tape on the fingers of his left hand as number 9 walks back and forth on the sideline. Bob Cameron punting on 3rd down. Winnipeg does have a fake punt. Here it is. Willard Reeves.
Well, it's just a direct snap. Dan Huckluck kicks out and makes the key block. Boy, put somebody right in his back, and Reeves stumbled through there and got the first down.
If Reeves don't stumble, he may go for about 20 on that one, too.
Well, that's a good block that Huckluck threw.
Murphy is pulling all the stops.
1st and 10, Winnipeg from the 38.5 of the BC Lions. Sideline, Joe Poplawski, first down.
Take another look at that. Is whatever way that the BC Lions commit their offense to strength, they come with the rush from the backside on that, and they just run out of blockers.
Well, they ran out of them there.
Fumbled again by Sean Keogh. I think the BC Lions have recovered. They have.
Well, that's a big break because the Lions needed something. They needed something to get them going. You never know when it's going to come.
36-yard kick by Lou Pasaglia. The 2nd straight fumble by Sean Keogh. This time, Ken Haley could not cover up.
It was right through his arms, and then it's a free ball. Calling on that defense again now.
It looked as though Ryan Potter was the man who came up with that football, but the BC offense will stay in there.
Potter went limping off the field, too. So it'll be Donnie Taylor in there alongside of John Henry White.
Delbert Fowler must go out for at least one play, and he will be replaced by Vernon Paul.
Now the Winnipeg team have been almost fault-free this whole ball game. That's a big, big fumble for them right there. And it could turn this ball game around.
Draw play, John Henry White. He did a good job of fighting his way inside the 40-yard line before being brought down by Frank Robinson.
Did you see that rush again? If that would have been a drop-back pass, they'd have had DeWalt on his back again. But now he's starting to use his head a little bit and give the ball in there on the draw and throw short on the screens, and you've got to get him off that rush.
Last time they threw on 2nd and short. Let's see what happens.
2nd and 3.5 for the BC Lions. Pass is incomplete. It was intended for John Pancratz. Pancratz running out of that slot position this afternoon. He did not start the game. Henry Vereen did start the game as the Lions went with 4 import receivers. John Sturdivant shaken up again. He was injured earlier in the ball game.
It's either a shoulder or some kind of an injury to his hand or arm.
He was acquired late last season by Winnipeg out of the University of Maryland. And Lou Pasaglia will be attempting a field goal. 1:03 is the time remaining here in the 3rd quarter. Winnipeg in front, 17-0.
Going to take a heck of a kick.
That was again
45 yards.
It was again a question that time of DeWalt throwing that ball in a hurry.
It is good. That was a heck of a kick against the wind from 45 yards out. And it's now 17-3. The BC Lions trailing the Winnipeg Blue Bombers with 47 seconds remaining in the third quarter. And John Hufnagel is coming in at quarterback.
Well, unless Clements is hurt, I don't really see the advisability of this. I've seen Hufnagel come in a lot of times, but Clements seemed like he had a feel for the game now, Ron.
Well, it's one of those situations. If it works, it's great. If it doesn't, why do it? We'll see what happens. We're going to get a shot early, though. We'll find out.
From the 35 on first down, sideline pattern. Murphy has it at the 45.
Two hooks in and out. Break forward to the sideline, read the coverage, and throw. That's what he did.
Cal Murphy making that quarterbacking change for no apparent reason. At least we haven't been informed of any problems for quarterback Tom Clements. On second and short yardage, Hufnagel keeps, and he has the first down with the gun sounding to end the third quarter. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers leading 17-3. We'll be back with the final quarter right after this.
Carlsberg Light, all right. People here say it's one good beer. Carlsberg Light, all right. Cold as ice, it's one real good beer. Crack a cold one and you'll see why it's got that great light taste for me. 'Cause Bud Light, all right. Raise a cheer for good beer.
More Montreal, more Winnipeg, more Calgary, more Edmonton, more Toronto.
The business traveler. Air Canada has more flights, more often, with more non-stops to more major Canadian cities than any other airline.
More Calgary.
And moreover, their superb connoisseur service.
More Halifax, more Ottawa.
Fly Air Canada and get more.
More Vancouver, more...
Well, as we said at the start of the telecast, the two coaches, Don Matthews and Cal Murphy, attempted to downplay the importance of this ball game. Don Matthews saying it's just another football game. But there weren't many people buying that thinking, and from the way the Winnipeg Blue Bomber defensive unit came onto the field when they were introduced, you had a pretty good indication there that they considered this perhaps one of the most important games of the season.
There's about 31,000 people here today that didn't buy it because they have been as loud as the crowds in Winnipeg for a long time. This is good to see. You know, one of the things, Leo, I don't know if this is right, but Hufnagel will throw the ball better against the wind than Clements. Maybe this is why. I really don't know why the change was made, though.
Well, that could be it. There's 15 minutes more of football to be played. And the BC Lions are only 2 touchdowns back, so this game is far from being over.
Fake to Willard Reeves. Hufnagel keeps. He's down to the 47-yard line. What a fake by John Hufnagel as the BC Lions thought Willard Reeves was lugging that football.
The great blocking right here, but they just fake the dive, and Hufnagel keeps it. I really don't know if this was a design play or not. Maybe we'll get a look at it.
Oh, yeah, he put it on his hip.
Well, then he made a good move, because if he hit the hip, you're going to fumble.
Look how loose he's carrying that ball, though. Tuck it in there, John.
Being a great ball carrier.
16 yards to gain. The pass deflected at the line of scrimmage. I think James Parker or Billy McBride may have got a hand on it. Jerome Erdman, the intended receiver.
That's the right spot to throw the football, though. No doubt about it. They blitzed the safety man, Billy McBride, coming from over there. And that's a long way for Nelson Martin to come. But McBride gets it. See Nelson Martin, number 4 there. He's coming from safety position. That's a long way.
Second and 10, Winnipeg.
Here comes another blitz.
Intended for Jeff Boyd. Penalty flag on the play. Mel Bird called for the interference. Again, I think that's a somewhat debatable flag because I don't think there's any way that Jeff Boyd could have caught that football.
No way that he could have come close to catching the ball, plus the fact that it really didn't indicate that much pass interference.
Defensive forward pass interference, BC number 10. First down.
Well, they blitzed the safety man, Billy McBride, 2 straight plays.
Winnipeg 1st and 10 at the BC 29, and we apologize for the problems we are having with the shadows cast onto the playing surface by the West Side Grandstand here at Winnipeg Stadium. Willard Reeves, the ball carrier, stopped by Glenn Jackson. With this bright July sun beaming down on Winnipeg Stadium, you see the shadow cast onto the playing surface as we are now 10 past 6 in the evening here in Winnipeg by the West Side Grandstand.
Well, Cal Murphy called this one. He sent Jerome Erdman in with the play and took out Rick House. Let's see just what they're going to do. Going to motion to try to get a read. Here comes the blitz.
Complete to James Murphy. Nick Hebler had John Huffnagel all wrapped up.
You know, that's a quarterback could do this. He went back in that pocket, and Nick Hebler had a free shot at it. Once Huffnagel just stepped inside of it, rolls off and takes his time, and bang, he hits the receiver coming across the middle.
And you wonder why he can throw that ball with that kind of accuracy. When he shook Hebler off, he had a perfect step up in there and got his shoulders turned upfield, and he had plenty of time to direct it in there.
The pitch to Willard Reeves. He cuts it back and down to the 5-yard line. Larry Crawford came across to make the tackle.
I don't know if they have a play-action pass in their repertoire anymore. I don't see them anymore. If they come right now on 1st down and fake that ball to Reeves and threw it out there, it'd be wide open.
Well, Leo, I think what they listened to you in the first half, they're in 3-down territory. It's now 2nd down and 4. They're going to put the big guys in and go to work at them, it looks like.
Second and 3 from the 5-yard line into the end zone for Boyd. Touchdown!
I'll tell you what, Leo, you should be down there. Just a little misdirection fake. Just lays it to the outside. Boyd just hangs on.
That's just exactly the way I don't like to say I call that play, but it was just exactly what they should have played. And Huffnagel came up with it. It was his call. It was a great call.
I thought it was a great move by Boyd as well, looking to see where the end zone lines were. He looked down, then looked back for that ball. But with the touchdown, Winnipeg leads 24-3, and we'll be back with the Blue Bomber kickoff right after this.
Get him! Get him! Get him! Oh, no! Door's open! How you doing? Hey, guys, did we win?
Hey, we even brought the beer.
All right!
When you get together, get a great get-together pack. The OV-18 pack.
That's why you just say OV for that great tasting beer. How'd you win without me? OV-18, oh yeah, you just say OV.
So you want to work for Midas, huh? Here you're fast.
Fastest there is.
Can you prove it?
Sure, Chief. Whose car?
Mine, hotshot.
Fast enough for you, Chief?
Fast and loose. Just not good enough for the Midas guarantee.
At Midas, first you get good, then you get fast.
You are number 1 on my list. That's what our customers tell us.
California, here we come, with Canada's largest and strongest team ever, including Sean O'Sullivan and Willie DeWitt, looking for this country's first Olympic boxing medals in more than 50 years. CBC will be there with 193 hours of coverage starting next weekend.
Trevor Kennard preparing to kick off with 11:26 remaining in the game. Andre Jones will start out from the 12-yard line. He is stopped at the 27. Boy, this is a noisy crowd today at Winnipeg Stadium.
Now here we are, what we refer to everybody thinks on first down, oh, he's going to give the ball to one of those big backs in there. He double fakes it and just lays it up in the air. Boyd looks down to make sure that he's in bounds, catches the ball, turns around, and it's a touchdown. Just a great execution, a great play.
Well, Pat Cantner put a big hit on Andre Jones on that kickoff, too.
DeWalt going to the outside. Incomplete, intended for John Henry White. Now another CFL update with Don Martin.
The Eskimos have come up with their first touchdown since the first quarter. Rookie Kevin Ingram is in, and he hits Marco Sinkar in the end zone for the touchdown, but the Argos still lead at 35-18 in the fourth quarter. Now let's get back to Winnipeg.
Well, the Edmonton Eskimos making some quarterbacking changes, and the official attendance this afternoon, 31,113 here at Winnipeg Stadium, about 1,000 below a sellout. On second down, DeWalt can't find a receiver. Now he's going to try and buy some time. Out of bounds, looking for Fernandez.
You know, Don, when you see the quarterback have that much time, and he's pumping that ball looking around, he can't find anybody open. And watch DeWalt.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, though. Fernandez is so wide open when he finally does work himself open. Look at him right here. I mean, there's no way that he could be missed, really.
No. Your initial read, he looked for him, he was covered, he looked inside, is where he got himself in trouble. But he had time to throw it.
Well, they've got DeWalt shook up, and no wonder. He's taken some awful hits out there this afternoon. One thing's for sure, he's looking over his shoulder now for that offside blitz.
David Shaw on the punt return team. And he brings it out to the 51-yard line. Dennis Javen makes the tackle. After fumbling on 2 successive punts, I guess Cal Murphy decided he wanted to change, and David Shaw replaced Sean Kehoe, returning the punt with Ken Haley.
Well, 1 fumble a year is too many. 2 in 1 game you can't handle.
Hufnagel hitting on 3 of the 4 passes he has attempted in the game. Leo, I don't understand why you were fired twice by the Argos the way you've been calling plays up here this afternoon.
He wasn't executing them, that's why.
No, just bad judgment, that's all.
Nowhere for Willard Reeves to go. Glenn Jackson was right there. He filled the hole quickly.
Well, you know what they were doing early in the game? They was hitting straight ahead and then cutting back. And the BC Lions have taken that away from him, and he cuts back right into about 3 white jerseys.
And it was like we talked about before, Ron. They're coming with a more of a conservative rush now because they're a little bit more conscious of that run on the inside, so it's going to give a guy like Hufnagel more time to throw the ball. Now, he should change his strategy a little bit here now and start throwing on first down instead of running on first down.
Well, let's see if they blitz the safety man again. Let's see. It looks like a blitz.
Now they're coming with a straight rush.
For James Murphy, he's got it.
You don't throw it any better. Just laid it in the hole. Boyd ran a great pattern. He come down, broke to the inside, and just turned out, and Hufnagel just floated it right into the hole.
Well, it looks like Cal Murphy has made another good decision when he changed his quarterback.
Watch Hufnagel. He'll find Murphy. I'm sorry, it's Murphy. He just lays it. What's a nice touch on the ball? Nice and easy, right into the hole. Nice catch. Get out of bounds.
With the exception of that fumble, the Bombers have played almost perfect football.
First down from the 40 to James Murphy. Penalty flag on the play, and Murphy is dropped for a loss of about 4 yards by Darnell Clatt. Holding against Winnipeg.
It must be against Bonk, the way he's complaining.
8:42, the time remaining. Bonk is really incensed.
John
He's the
says,
veteran of that offensive line.
He says, I never hold.
Rick House trying to calm down the veteran John Bonk in his 12th year.
Holding, Winnipeg number 43. Decline, second down.
It will be 2nd and 14 as the penalty is declined. Penalty flag again. Hopnagel's pass is picked off by Kevin Konar. Konar pitches it out to Nelson Martin, and then Martin is thrown out of bounds at the 35.
Well, that was a new formation. And I think they're going to have one of these receivers is up on the line.
So the BC Lions will be in possession when we return.
Come on, Canada. Join the Ford Best Built Quality Celebration. It's Tempo and Topaz's first anniversary, and we're featuring low prices on the most successful new car names of '84. Get up to $900.
Him come. He's free all the way.
You see what they're doing there when you take another look at that is whatever way that the BC Lions commit their offense to strength, they come with the rush from the backside on that, and they just run out of blockers.
Well, they ran out of them there.
Problem again by Sean Keogh. I think the BC Lions have recovered. They have.
Well, that's a big break because the Lions needed something. They needed something to get them going. And you never know when it's going to come.
36-yard kick by Lou Pasaglia. The second straight fumble by Sean Keogh. This time, Ken Haley could not cover up.
It was right through his arms, and then it's a free ball. Calling on that defense again now.
It looked as though Ryan Potter was the man who came up with that football, but the BC offense will stay in there.
Potter went limping off the field, too. So it'll be Donnie Taylor in there alongside of John Henry White.
Delbert Fowler must go out for at least one play, and he will be replaced by Vernon Tall. Hopnagel's pass is picked off by Kevin Konar. Konar pitches it out to Nelson Martin, and then Martin is thrown out of bounds at the 35.
Well, that was a new formation. And I think they're going to have one of these receivers is up on the line.
So the BC Lions will be in possession when we return.
Come on, Canada. Join the Ford Best Built Quality Celebration. It's Tempo and Topaz's first anniversary, and we're featuring low prices on the most successful new car names of '84. Get up to $912 off right now on front-wheel drive Tempo and Topaz, two of the most technologically advanced cars on the road today, from the maker of the best-built North American cars and trucks. Come in during our quality celebration now for best-built quality and value.
Second to none at Ford. Quality is your choice.
It's for you. It's Harrington.
We all could see it coming.
I've read your proposal, and they sound like a good outfit. Let's do it.
And now that time's at hand.
We got it. But you don't know anything about computers.
This is all I have to know.
Make friends with the future at Computerland. Make friends with the future at Computerland.
We've helped more kinds of people buy more kinds of computers than any other store in the world.
You know, this used to be my office.
Next week in the CFL, the Stampeders host the defending Grey Cup champion Toronto Argonauts in Calgary. And on Saturday at BC Place in Vancouver, the Montreal Concourse meet the Lions at 10 o'clock Eastern Time, here on CBC Television.
Yes, another doubleheader next weekend on CBC Television. Friday night from Calgary, Saturday night from the Dome at BC Place. Roy DeWalt throwing deep. A fantastic catch way down at the Winnipeg 21-yard line.
Well, there's some real complaining there because Armour appeared to have pushed the defensive back a little bit.
He just lays it down there. We're going to get a good look at it, I believe. Well, it's a great catch. I don't know if he pushed or not. I don't think he did.
I don't think he did either. No, I'm going to take that back. The official was absolutely correct on that. Well, you want to talk about a great catch. That was a great catch.
He's knocked down by Ken Haley.
I'll tell you, if they score right here, boys, we got a football game on our hands.
7:20 is the time remaining. 24-3, Winnipeg leads at CNE Stadium. It's 36-18 now. The Argonauts leading the Edmonton Eskimos after a missed field goal by Hank Olisic.
2nd and 1. I think he'll run this time. He hasn't been too successful throwing on 2nd and short yardage.
John Henry White gets to the 10-yard line. Well, this is the deepest penetration that the BC Lions have made in the ball game. But with 6:30 time remaining and the Lions trailing by 21 points, they have to strike here and then strike quickly to get back in this ball game. DeWalt is under pressure again from Frank Robinson, throwing it into the end zone. The official is the closest man to the ball. Bit of a hassle involving Vernon Paul and Gerald Roper.
Boys will be boys.
Vernon Paul, a graduate of the University of Prince Edward Island. So the ball is just outside the 10-yard line. It will be 2nd and 10 BC. 6 minutes now remaining in the ball game. Into the end zone for Fernandez, incomplete.
You know what makes David Shaw such a good corner? He was man-to-man on Sandusky out in the flat, and he read Roy DeWalt's eyes and turned around and went and helped Turner cover Fernandez. And they left Sandusky standing out in the corner all alone.
Good thing he was there, too.
Sure.
He had the outside was open, and he could have laid it over his outside shoulder. If Shaw hadn't been there, it would have been a touchdown. But he had to overthrow it because Shaw was there.
3rd and 10, and the BC Lions needing a touchdown desperately here if they hope to get back into the ball game or going for it. Roy DeWalt's in trouble. Tyrone Jones makes the quarterback sack with 5:29 remaining. Winnipeg will take over.
At
Petro-Canada is energy. To the people of Ontario, that means economic energy, fueling new investments, stimulating new technology, creating new jobs in manufacturing, engineering, transportation, steel. That's Petro-Canada's commitment. You can see it in Ontario. And wherever you see this sign, Petro-Canada, putting Canada first.
What does it take to make your flight safe and comfortable? There's the captain and the flight crew, of course. But behind the scenes, Transport Canada provides weather information, operates our air traffic control system, sets airworthiness standards, operates runway emergency equipment, and provides airport security across the country. So when we ask you to buckle your seatbelt and stow your luggage properly, it's not really that much to ask, is it? Care about your safety. We do. Transport Canada.
What a football game. I'll tell you, Tyrone Jones has been everywhere today. None bigger plays than the one he makes right here. Tyrone Jones, Gerald Roper, the guard, comes right out here to block him. He just runs right over top of him. Boy, I'll tell you, he is really coming there. There's 65, tries to block him, just hurdles him, and from then on, the Walt's in trouble.
Well, I'm going to burden you two gentlemen with the task of selecting our Carling O'Keefe defensive game star. Sideline pattern, Hucklack goes out of bounds. He got to the 27-yard line. Another CFL update now, and here's Don Martin.
The Argos recovered another Eskimo fumble, and they have taken it in. Joe Barnes with his 6th TD pass of the day, just too short of the CFL record. Paul Pearson with the catch that makes it 43-18 Toronto with just over 7 minutes to play. Now let's get back to Winnipeg.
The second touchdown of the afternoon for Paul Pearson. Terry Greer also has 2, as the Argos are in total control of that game. Here in Winnipeg, Willard Reeves will get the first down to the 31 in the grasp of Billy McBride.
Well, they can talk all they want to about all those speed receivers in the CFL, but that Paul Pearson makes some big plays for the Toronto Argonauts. As we see Reeves making a big play right here. He made that on his own. He was stopped behind the line of scrimmage and twisted and turned for the first down.
He now has run for 142 yards. Hufnagel's in trouble. James Parker had him by the leg, and he was getting pressured also from Billy McBride.
What happens, James Parker will come from here, and Billy McBride, the halfback, comes from here, and the tackle, or whoever's blocking him, he has to make a decision, and he can't block them both. There's the action. Now there comes Parker. Now McBride comes. He'll come off the block, McBride, and then bang, that guy gets him. You can't block two.
2nd and 16, Winnipeg, with 3:40 left in the game.
Safety blitz.
Draw play with Willard Reeves, and he is caught at the line of scrimmage by Glenn Jackson.
Once they get into that safety blitz, it amounts to just a gap 8. And it's awful tough to run anything up inside there because they're in every one of the gaps.
They brought Nelson Martin right up through the seam with him, so he's going to run into Jackson and Martin. You're not going to gain too many yards.
Well, it will create an interesting situation in the Western Conference if Winnipeg wins this game. The Lions, the Bombers, the Edmonton Eskimos, and the Calgary Stampeders, all with 4 points.
Well, we said it was going to be close this year. That's the way it should be.
The BC Lions should go after this one, but they're putting the hold on.
Cameron's kick hangs up there and then bounces to Darnell Clark at the 50-yard line. Nowhere to go as 3 Winnipeg punt coverage people were downfield. And we have 3:01 remaining in the ball game. Winnipeg in front, 24-3.
You fought for every yard. Now there's only one left. There's no second best for you. In the game you play, or the beer you choose.
That's why you just say O.B. for that great big beer. O.B., O.B., oh yeah. You just say O.B.
As you remember, class, last week's Lotto 649 lesson on preparing for the big win dealt with putting maitre d's in their place. Today's lesson is on buying art. Repeat after me, Leonardo da Vinci.
Leonard da Vinci.
Renoir. Renoir. Modigliani.
Modigliani?
No. Modigliani.
Lotto 649. Exceptionally attractive prizes. $1 the ticket.
Will you be ready?
Those are the two games you'll be seeing next Friday and Saturday on CBC television. The Argonauts coming off that big win, although it's not final yet this afternoon at CNE Stadium against the Edmonton Eskimos, and the Montreal Concourse facing the BC Lions. Ned Armour at the midfield stripe, not much further. He's wrapped up there by three Winnipeg defenders. Wiley Turner was there, Frank Robinson, and David Shaw.
I think those guys have been watching those rodeos we've had on. Watch them pick him up, throw him down.
Well, that change that Cal Murphy made for this game, inserting Frank Robinson in at a linebacking position, has certainly paid dividends.
And that change he made with his quarterbacks is certainly paying dividends, too. Not that Clemens was doing a bad job, but Huffnagel's gone in there and done a great job. Cal's hot. He's on a roll.
Well, that defense of the Bombers is really strong right now.
At the 54, it's 2nd and 4 yards. Intended for Sandusky, incomplete. There's also a penalty flag on the play. Procedure against the BC Lions. 2:34 is the time left to play.
BC number 8, declined.
Ned Armour moved before that ball was snapped, coming across the line of scrimmage on the far side. But on 3rd and 4, the BC offense will remain out there. Henry Verrain is being chased way back by Tony Norman to the 43-yard line. There was no chance for that point.
That's about how the day has gone for them. Doug McIver made the first play. He got in. But that's about the way it's gone for the Lions today, and the Bombers again, the big defense.
Well, these 31,000 plus at Winnipeg Stadium this afternoon have certainly enjoyed what has developed.
I'll just watch Doug McIver right here. He comes right in here where they vacated and cuts off the pulling guard coming from the other side.
Back to the live action now. Willard Reeves again to the 40-yard line. Leo, I think this afternoon you've done a great job in calling the plays. Let Ron look after the video writer.
Well, that was my first shot on that video writer. I'm going to have to get a little practice on that thing. One of these days I'm going to do a game by myself.
I'm taking the video writer with me. What are you going to do there?
You ain't going to get it.
2nd and 7 from the 40. Willard Reeves again. He is to the 33-yard line. Stopped there by James Parker. It'll be very close to a first down. .205 is the time left. You know, we talked early in the ball game about Willard Reeves prior to the start of the season, predicting that he would run for 1,800 yards. If he has many games like he has enjoyed today, that 1,800-yard total certainly is not beyond reach.
Well, you know, the offensive linemen really like it when a back runs for a lot of yards because they're doing their job, and they get tired of sitting back pass block, and they take more of a beating that way.
Well, it just goes to show what a good diversified attack will do, too. Ottawa, when they have Skip Walker in there, makes an awful lot of difference in that offense, too.
Willard Reeves this afternoon has 152 yards. Movement at the line of scrimmage. Reeves the ball carrier again. He is piled up after a pickup of a couple of yards.
BC was going to come from that halfback blitz again, and Bill McBride jumped offside.
Well, this is strictly a case of not being able to do anything right this afternoon for the BC Lions. They've gone from, just being the most explosive team in Canada to making all kind of mistakes this afternoon.
Offside, BC, number 16. First down repeat.
They'll get these out of their system when they look at the films, but if there's anything that can humble you and bring you back to the earth, it's a game like they've had this afternoon. And on the other side of the ledger, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers have done almost everything absolutely correct. It's another offside by the BC Lions.
John Hufnagel going down. He realized there was nowhere for him to go. There was movement at the line of scrimmage, procedure, or offside. It appeared as though Mac Moore moved. Well, successive penalties will give the Winnipeg Blue Bombers a first down. It's been that type of an afternoon for Don Matthews.
And you can get ready for another play-action pass here, too, on that first down, because Hufnagel has just had a play sent in, and I wouldn't be surprised if Cal Murphy has told him to try it again.
Winnipeg first and 10 at the BC 23-yard line. As you see the amount of time remaining in this one, Winnipeg in front 24-3. Willard Reeves still on his feet, still fighting. He turned what appeared to be a certain loss into a gain of about 6 yards.
That was done all on his own right there.
A gain of 7 for Willard Reeves. I think there's not much doubt that Willard Reeves is going to be our Carling O'Keefe offensive game star, but it's going to be a tough choice picking that Carling O'Keefe defensive game star. Appeared to be a mix-up in the pattern being run by number 25, Kevin Nealis, and number 70, Jeff Boyd.
I'll tell you, Huckluck swung out of that backfield that time, and he was wide open. It was Rick House from the slot back position, swung out of there to the right, and everybody had dropped off, and if Hufnagel just saw him, it was a sure 15-yard gain.
So Trevor Kennard comes into the ball game again to attempt another field goal, this one from 25 yards out. It's wide. And in the end zone, Melvin Berg will concede the single point. So with 1:02 left, it's 25-3. The Blue Bombers leading the BC Lions. Again, we point out that next weekend, Friday, we'll be at McMahon Stadium in Calgary as the Argonauts visit the Stampeders, and then on Saturday night the BC Lions will be at home to the Montreal Concorde. I don't envy the Concorde at all going into the stadium at BC Place after the loss that the BC Lions have suffered this afternoon. They'll be revved up for their next outing. Tony Norman hit Roy DeWalt just as he released the football, sending it into the turf.
That's another question of looking downfield, and there just isn't anybody open. Roy is looking the whole field over. He's looking from right to left, and there just isn't anybody to throw the football to.
Well, he had enough time to throw it. Talking about next week's game, the Concorde need to win too, though. I mean, it's both of them need it. It's going to be time to see who can come out on top.
Well, the Concorde, of course, coming off a tough loss last night to the Ottawa Rough Riders. Pass incomplete as Wiley Turner punished Ned Armour, the intended receiver.
Well, DeWalt just got that one up, boy. You know, those defensive backs, watch him. He's going to throw it there, and it's going to be a little high, but watch his hit. Bang. That takes care of Armour. Now watch what happens to DeWalt.
misusing him this afternoon. That helmet came right up under the chin.
Basaglia's third down punt will go out of bounds at the Winnipeg 22-yard line with 44 seconds remaining. Now another CFL update, and again, here's Don Martin.
It's late in the fourth quarter in Toronto, but the Eskimos haven't given up. Johnny Evans hits Brian Kelly in the end zone for his 10th touchdown in 21 catches this season. The two-point conversion makes it 43-26. The Argos still in front. Let's go back to Winnipeg.
10 touchdowns for Brian Kelly. Again, we point out that CFL record of touchdown receptions in one season, 17 shared by Hugh Campbell and Terry Evanson.
You realize that 10 touchdown passes is a great season for any receiver?
Willard Reeves fights his way to the 25-yard line. What a find Willard Reeves was for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Cal Murphy last year had him in camp for a couple of games, finally got a chance to get him into a ball game, and he responded by running for better than 150 yards. He, of course, was obtained on the 2nd of July a year ago from the Edmonton Eskimos on waivers, along with Sean Kehoe. Jeff Boyd also came to Winnipeg via the Edmonton Eskimos.
Well, there's two things that the Winnipeg Blue Bombers have done this afternoon that really accounts for a lot of their success. Number one, they got that offside rush away from formation that just absolutely got to DeWalt every time he threw the football. And number two, they found early in the ball game that the BC Lions were coming with a lot of strength with their rush, and they decided that they were going to run up inside with Willard Reeves, and that's exactly what they did. Those two things, I think, more than anything else, were substantial in this win this afternoon.
I don't think you'll see many better defensive performances than the one turned in by the Blue Bombers this afternoon. The pressure exerted by the linebackers and the front three, and the job of covering by the defensive backs.
Just about a perfect defense. You know, they've had a perfect game, which you just don't see that often.
Look at the boys talking it over on the sidelines there. They know they've had a great game, and this does an awful lot for a football team. They lost a game that they should have won this year. And this is one game that's going to put them right back where they belong. There was always talk, and we said this before the football game, that these were the two teams that were going to end up in the playoffs in the final this year. But there's a lot of football to be played, and we may hear from some other teams that come up with games like this as the season progresses.
Well, these are the top two in the West, supposedly, and it's been that kind of a day. The defensives have dominated.
Second down from the 25-yard line. Again, the pitch to Willard Reeves. And he improves his rushing statistics as he hits the 30-yard line. 30 seconds remaining here at Winnipeg Stadium. Willard Reeves with 167 yards now, a 5.9-yard rushing average. Henry Vereen drops back along with Darnell Flash for this third down kick. And Bob Cameron will take as much time as possible before hitting this one.
Pretty satisfying feeling to be standing on the sidelines at this stage of the ball game and know that it's yours. And it's a great game for the Bombers.
Good kick by Bob Cameron. Henry Vereen breaks the tackle. Vereen gets his way down to the 25-yard line. He's brought down there by Delton Fowler, but that's the final play of the ball game. A 49-yard run back by Henry Vereen. As he took that Bob Cameron kick and did a good job of returning it, but that ran out the clock as the Winnipeg Blue Bombers defeat the British Columbia Lions 25-3 before 31,000 here at Winnipeg Stadium. The two former assistant coaches, Don Matthews and Cal Murphy, who both worked for Hugh Campbell with the Edmonton Eskimos, meeting for the first time in regular season play in 1984. And Cal Murphy finally sees that 5-game losing streak at the hands of the BC Lions come to an end. And with the victory, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers move into a tie for first place in the Western Conference. Certainly a logjam atop the standings. And now down at the sidelines, The head coach of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, Cal Murphy. Cal, congratulations. Prior to the ball game, you seemed to exude an air of confidence. You felt your team was ready to play. Indeed, they were.
Yeah, they were. I told you we would play well, and I think we did play well. It was a heck of a ball game. There was a lot of emotion, as you know, and it was a heck of a win for us, period.
Cal, do you think that you ever had a better football game, I should say, that you ever stood on the sidelines for? I think you only made one mistake, and that was that fumble on that kick. And other than that, you played about perfect football.
Yeah, I thought, you know, it was probably about as error-free football as you could play. I thought that defensively, gee, we just were super, you know. And then in the kicking game, except for that last one there, we were really good. And then in offense, we did the things we had to do. We didn't get many mistakes there, and that's the big thing.
Cal, did you have a reason for putting Hufnagel in place of Clemens?
Well, we thought that once again, a little change of pace, and Huff was familiar with what was going on, and we got confidence in them. That's why we got two of them, and that's why they're getting paid to play.
Must be rather reassuring, though, Cal, to be able to send in someone like a John Hufnagel, in contrast to the quarterbacking woes you experienced a year ago.
Well, it is, and I'm glad we got Huffer, and that's one of the best trades we've made, along with Tom, and we're just happy as heck about the whole thing. It was a super win.
Cal, I thought that offside rush away from their formation really put a lot of pressure on them. And then early in the ball game, you found out that Reeves could get up inside there. Those were two real substantial things, didn't you think?
That's right. And once, excuse me, once Willard got the feel that he was running mad, you might say, you know. The other thing, I know you were in the office, and I told you we had some things defensively that we thought we could pull them on the one side, and we did.
Well, you talked about the addition of Frank Robinson and the speed that he would add. That certainly was borne out in the first half.
Well, it was, and, you know, they've got so much speed on offense. They're a super football team, and it's going to be a long, long season. Yeah, it's a long way down the road, and now you got to get ready for Hamilton. You don't even get a chance to savor it.
Did you really feel that you could shut down those four receivers the way they did today? At the halftime, what were they, -2 total offense? That's just unbelievable, isn't it?
Well, you know, I was with Fred last night quite a while after we stayed down in the hotel with the football team, as we always have when the night before a game at home. And he and I were sitting there, I said, you know, Fred, I really think we are going to be able to contain those people on offense. And I think if we don't make mistakes, I know we're going to do it.
We thought, Cal, just sitting up here and looking at this thing, that the most substantial thing that you did, other than put a pressure on this guy that he had to throw the ball, was every time we looked downfield, they were completely covered.
Well, that's it. We did, and I really, you have to give a lot of credit to that, to the sweet Georgia Brown defense that we got out there, because they did one heck of a job. And I'll tell you what, you got to give some credit to the coaches too. They did a heck of a job of getting them ready.
Cal, two plays out there. The shoestring play early in the ball game didn't quite work the way you had anticipated. Then the fake punt certainly worked well to keep a drive going.
Well, it did. I think they were in our huddle on the shoestring play. Either that or their practice. I mean, they were ready for it as soon as we came out in the ball, for crying out loud.
Did you call that play-action pass down on the goal line for the touchdown, or did John come up with that himself?
Which one? The first one down there? We called that one. You know, we have those things. When we send those things in, Leo, it's, hey, you can, this is what we're suggesting. You go ahead and do with what you want sometimes.
Cal, Willard Reeves with a great ball game today. With the pressure that they were going to put on you, on your quarterback, Leo had pointed out a number of times that the obvious thing to do was to run Willard Reeves, and he certainly responded. His best game this year by far.
Well, you know, as we were saying earlier before the game, we were going to run him, and we just have to get him in our offense, and we're going to have a good offense because he's too good a back not to run with the football.
Have you ever had a more satisfying game than this one?
Not in some time, I'll tell you.
Cal, I know you're anxious to get to the dressing room. Congratulations, 25-3, the final score. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers defeating the British Columbia Lions. And we'll return to Winnipeg Stadium and our Carling O'Keefe Game Stars right after we pause for this message.
You've rehearsed it 1,000 times, yet it's never the same way twice. There's no second best for you. In the game you play, or the beer you choose.
That's why you just say OG for that great tasting beer. OG, OG, oh yeah. You can say
OG. And now, let's meet the Carling O'Keefe Sports Game Stars.
Well, we didn't have any problems picking Willard Reeves as our Carling O'Keefe offensive game star. Tyrone Jones, we must admit we had some difficulty defensively because there were so many outstanding performances there. And we're going to talk to you first. Frank Robinson really played well. Aaron Brown, Sturdivant, Tony Norman, all the defensive backs. Everybody turned in perhaps one of the finest defensive efforts the Winnipeg Blue Bombers have ever come up with.
Right, you know, the whole defense played well. You know, in previous games we played BC, they've almost like blown us out, you know, and it's been an embarrassment for not only one guy on the defense, but it's been an embarrassment for the whole team. So, you know, the whole defense wanted to go out and prove to everybody that, you know, we are a contender and that we can stop BC. You know, BC is not, you know, immortal. You know, they're a team just like any other team is in the CFL. They have good athletes and they run good, you know, have good game plan and everything. But so we wanted to show people we could shut them out, and, you know, that was a turning point in the game.
Well, you certainly went after Roy DeWalt right from the start of the ball game. How would you like to savor a couple of those sacks again as we show them to you, and you can describe them to us in the first half?
Right. Well, definitely. You know, we had a strong dog on this particular play, and what I did was I made a fake to the outside, and the back went for the fake, and I just went up inside. That's what I've been doing to them all game long.
All right. Now we'll take a look at one in the second half.
Well, the second half is basically the same defense again. You know, I just made a fake to the outside, and the back didn't go for it. And, well, he went for the fake, and, you know, I got him on the inside.
It's really a question of the back stepping up there and looking to the outside and the inside and trying to take his pick as to which one he's going to get, because you guys had him outnumbered. And when you made that fake, you just came clean in there. Is that right?
Right, definitely. And then there was a couple of times where the linemen, you know, they were blocking, you know. I mean, you know, it wasn't scot-free all the time, but, you know, there was a couple of guys that made a pretty good bit of defensive plays that, you know, give me a chance to get in there.
Tyrone, did your defense as a unit today, did you make any changes, say from your last game to this one to take advantage of, you know, to shut down BC? Did you make any changes in your normal defenses?
No, we had a couple of special plays in, you know, for getting out deeper in the flats and in the zone. Some of the passes, like, well, that Walt, you know, like to throw. And, you know, we ran a couple of, you know, different plays. But overall, our whole game plan was basically the same as it's always been. It's just that guys wanted to win this game.
Well, Tyrone, the BC Lions have amassed almost 1,000 yards in 2 games. And you guys went out there today and shut them off completely. What does this do for your defensive unit and for your football team in general?
Well, it does a lot. You know, it showed us that we can play defense against the best team in the league. And, you know, in the next game, we're going to have to do just the same against Hamilton. And, you know, it's a big thing shutting them out. I feel that we shut them out. They got 3 points, but I really feel that we shut BC out because, you know, it was a fluke play that they got the 3 points on. And you notice a couple of times they did get down to the goal line, and, you know, we bend, but we didn't break.
Indeed, and that was a tremendous defensive effort. Tyrone Jones, congratulations on being selected our Carling O'Keefe defensive game star, and the man standing beside you, our Carling O'Keefe offensive game star, Willard Reeves. You had a great ball game, one of your best as a professional.
Yeah, we ran the ball today. We wanted to do, you know, we just wanted to run the ball, get things rolling on the offense at the running aspect about it. You know, we were doing a lot of passing in the last couple of games, and we decided to get a running game going. We only ran a couple of plays, you know, didn't put too much in this week. But the plays that we did put in, they worked very good.
Willard, we've got a couple of plays that we'd like to show you, and perhaps you can describe them for us.
Okay, this right here is just a red draw. They were all shifting over to my side, so I just cut it back and just went through the hole. They were just running each time I went this way, they shifted that way, so I just went backside on them every time. They're doing it all first half.
And here's another.
That's the blue draw. Same thing. See how they come across, and there's the hole. Chris Walby coming down on him. I just go right through the middle of there and just make my cut there and just go at it.
Well, Willard, I know you were disappointed after the first couple of games of the year because you had indicated that you might have an 1,800-yard season in you. Well, if you have many more 167-yard games, that 1,800-yard target isn't out of reach.
Well, the target I strive for, 1,800 yards, of course, is a little high, but you know, it's just something you got to work for. I want to work for it. You know, if I don't get it, at least I can say I worked hard for it. You know, just to get close to it.
Willard, all the great running backs have always said that they get stronger as the game goes on and the more they carry the ball. Is that your style also?
That's my style. I tell you, after five running plays, I really get going then because I really get mad, and you know, after the hits and stuff. So that's me too. It's true.
Willard Reeves, congratulations on being chosen our Carling O'Keefe Offensive Game Star, and to you, Tyrone Jones, for being chosen for the second week here at Winnipeg Stadium, the Defensive Game Star. Willard Reeves and Tyrone Jones playing key roles this afternoon as the Winnipeg Blue Bombers defeated the British Columbia Lions 25-3. Now, for more on CFL action, let's go to CFL Control in Toronto and Don Martin.
Thanks, Don. So there are no undefeated teams left in the CFL as the BC Lions are knocked off for the first time this season in regular season and exhibition play. Let's update you on Major League Baseball from this afternoon. The Toronto Blue Jays in Seattle, where they won 5-3 before a small crowd at the Kingdome, just over 7,200. Doyle Alexander pitches for the win. He is now 8-4 with the save from Roy Lee Jackson, his 8th of the year. Mark Langston, the loser for Seattle, now 8-8. And Big Cliff Johnson comes through with his 10th home run of the season, his 4th game-winning RBI of the year. In the CFL, as you saw here on CBC, the Winnipeg Blue Bombers over the BC Lions 25-3 in what could be termed an upset were this not so early in the season. And here in Toronto, the Argos do it again. Joe Barnes in relief, hits Paul Pearson on the 5-yard line. Second half, he takes it in for a 15-yard touchdown. 35-10, the Argos lead over Edmonton. The Eskimos come up with their first touchdown since the first quarter. Rookie Kevin Ingram is in, hits Marco Sinkar on the end zone for the touchdown. The Argos still lead at 35-18. Barnes back for more. They recover a fumble. This pass goes to Paul Pearson, his second of the day, 43-18 in Toronto. And late in the quarter, the Eskimos come back. Johnny Evans to Brian Kelly. That's his 10th touchdown of the season. He has only 21 receptions this season, so Kelly is on a tear. 43-26. Toronto over Edmonton in the final. As we saw, Winnipeg over BC, so let's go back now, and Don Whitman will wrap it up for us from Winnipeg Stadium.
Well, Don, as you said, no undefeated teams in the Canadian Football League. There were a lot of people, the way the Lions started, gentlemen, who were thinking that the Lions might go undefeated all season.
And you were one of them.
I was one of them, I have to admit.
And you're from Winnipeg, too.
Well, they started so strongly against both Edmonton and Toronto.
Well, I think the whole league is close. I guess Winnipeg, they knew they had to win today, and they came out and did it. That's about all you can ask. That was a great football game for the Bombers, but the Lions will be back. There's no doubt about it.
And we'll get to see the Lions next Saturday as they take on the Montreal Concord. 25-3, the final score here at Winnipeg Stadium as Winnipeg in the showdown for first in the West defeats the British Columbia Lions. The executive producer of CFL football on CBC television is Bob Moyer. Today's game was produced by Hugh Carruthers under the direction of Larry Brown and in charge of our isolated cameras, Grant Haywood. And the other people who helped make CFL football on CBC television possible. Final score today, Winnipeg 25, BC 3. Now, back to CFL Control and Don Martin.
Thank you, gentlemen. And that is it from CFL 84, the end of a great weekend for us here on CBC, and we hope you've enjoyed it. The CFL returns next weekend with 2 games. Friday night, the Calgary Stampeders bring in the defending Grey Cup champion Toronto Argonauts, 9 o'clock Eastern Time. And on Sunday night, it'll be Montreal and BC on the full CBC network, scheduled for 10 Eastern, immediately following the Olympic opening ceremonies from Los Angeles, and we hope you'll join us. This is Don Martin for our entire CBC Sports crew. Thank you for joining us, and good night.